Welcome, everybody, to the Transatlantic Call-In Show, the only show on the internet where you can call. Actually, I don't know if it's the only one, but it's the best one. If there are any others, I haven't heard of any other ones, so I guess they're not real. But where you can talk to two actual real life trans people, and the number's down at the bottom of the screen, 720 If you're from the US or Canada, use that link. If you're from outside the US or Canada, then you can use the web link as well. I am Dr. Ben, and I'm joined by Lux. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty okay today so far. I was in a little bit of a rush to get everything done today. I'm going to be doing Calling It Now after this. Shout out on the Jimmy Snow channel. Um, yeah, so other than that though, I feel like, things are going okay. It's Halloween officially, so I'm pleased with that. I
Yes.
put up all my Halloween decorations all over the house and the weather is starting to turn up here. The Oh man, we're already getting leaves. In Kansas, the leaves are not turning right now. Like, and often they don't. They just go brown right at the end of the season. So to actually get a full, like, with all the full colors and everything, man, climate change is such a bitch.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely down here in the desert lands. I wish we had a more like October, but it feels like
Mhm.
not a whole lot has changed. It's out of the 90s at least, so that's a plus.
Yeah,
But
you're getting something.
yeah, we have to embrace the small positive things in this world of absolute chaos. Um,
True.
and kind of going back to the fact that we are a call-in show, we have open lines for now. I know they do tend to fill up quickly, so if you have a question about transitioning, if you have a disagreement, especially if you think trans kids should not get health care, if you think that trans people are the reason why the government is shut down, definitely give us a
Mm.
call. There's a lot going on that I'd love to chat with you about, so get your calls in. And we do have a poll question from last week if we want to get that up. So last week we asked you, do you oppose bans on gender affirming healthcare for trans youth? And 88% said yes, and 12% said no. And I know this is the one that people were confused about the language in the side chat. So I think people went back and answered the question, and maybe read it a little more. But
Yeah.
do you have any
That's how
additional
the
thoughts on
survey
this?
was
Yeah.
that's how the survey was
Yeah.
phrased. I'm sorry. I just went off of what, like, there was a Reuters survey or something that went out recently. And so that's what we were talking about. Do you oppose bans on the care? As in, do you support access to gender affirming care? Um, on a completely related but somewhat separate note, I'm interested, Ben, in having a conversation with you sometime about perhaps if you think that the term gender affirming care is like a bullshit term that is used to, like, kind of patronize, whereas we could just say trans healthcare, because obviously nobody's calling this cisgender healthcare gender affirming care. So if we just say trans
Yeah.
healthcare, I don't know. That's one of the things I'm thinking
Yeah.
about this week.
No, that's actually a really good point. And I was in one of the info sessions for one of the programs I applied to, and they
Mhm.
actually have like they pride themselves on having education on trans care, and they do like they have a whole trans clinic and stuff, and they just call it transgender healthcare. And I do
Mhm.
think that is more clear about what we're talking about. I
Sure.
do. I guess this would be a great this discussion to have in general, and maybe a good poll question for later, or if someone wants to call in about this. Uh, the fact that there's the common argument that we'll use of saying, well, HRT is gender affirming care, so is hair transplant, so is surgery for a gynecomastia. So, like, I agree. Separating out the terms, I'm sure would make it more like easier to understand. Do you think that would hurt the argument? Do you think we would be able to separate out the arguments pretty well? Like, do you think we'd still have that advantage?
Um, I I don't know. It's like, yeah, I guess that we are constantly trying to find the right thing for our rhetoric, and it's like maybe at the end of the day, like, it doesn't actually matter that much in terms of efficacy and
Mhm.
more in terms of, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, does this actually help anybody? Or are we just splitting hairs? And like, is anybody going to be more affected by our rhetoric if we say trans healthcare? Like whose feelings are we protecting? And I guess it is I'm coming from the trans perspective. So it's from the trans
Mhm.
perspective, yes, I think there would be a benefit to just saying trans healthcare. But yeah, you and I will be on with each other again this month. So let's plan for that to be a poll question coming up. Unless some crazy
Yeah,
ass
let's
news
do it.
happens, let's just plan for it.
Let's do it. Absolutely. So let's show the poll for this week that we will address later on. Do you think Democrats will forfeit trans healthcare to the GOP in order to reopen the government? And this is a
Mm.
very hot topic right now, especially. And again, if you want to call us about this too, like if you want us to hear your opinions sooner, you can call in and we can address that as soon as you want. But that will be the poll. So get your answers in for that, and we will discuss that a bit later
Hmm.
on in the show.
Yeah.
Are you ready to take a caller?
I think I am ready. We're not oh
You
yeah, they're
ready?
in the queue now. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we only
Yeah.
have one caller right now, y'all. The number is on the screen, 720-619-2288. Also, if you will take a moment to hit the like button, that will automatically almost increase the number of people in here, and then more people will join the call-in queue. So, hit the like button. That's gonna get us going here today. Yeah, so let's go for it.
Absolutely. All right. We have Kara, pronouns are they, them, from Indiana. Sounds like you want to ask about the cost of trans healthcare. Let us know a bit more about your specific situation and how we can help.
Oh, my
Hello?
bad. I
Kara?
had that line muted.
Oh,
Mm.
Let's start that call over like it's brand new.
gotcha. We're going to talk to Kara, they, them from Indiana, wants to talk about the cost of trans healthcare. What specifically is your situation and how can we help you?
Hello. Uh, I contacted the Pride Center that's closest to me, and um, they ended up giving me an email, and that led to a link. I was trying to get I keep forgetting the word, the type of doctor that deals with the genes and stuff.
Like a geneticist?
Um, in endocrinology, I think is the word.
Yeah, endocrinology will work with the hormones. Is there a specific reason they're
Yeah.
sending you
Well,
to endocrinology and not to somebody primary care that can do trans healthcare?
Well, my primary doctor, seeing how I don't, um, brain, sorry, I go to like two places. My primary care is like Valley Professionals, and then my people actually do with my meds and whatnot are a different hospital. I'm forgetting their name.
Okay.
I am
Yeah,
blanking
you don't
really
have to
hard.
disclose
Sorry.
exactly which locations, but the reason I say that is because there's a lot of instinct to just say that you have to go to endocrinology, and that's not true at all. Endocrinology is important more for the pediatric population because they need kind of more specialized screening, and dealing with puberty requires a bit more, I say a bit more, a lot more expertise in order to manage that. But for adults, if you're already done developing, you don't necessarily need to go to endocrinology unless you have some other endocrine condition that you have to kind of balance with that. So, like, if there's thyroid issues, if there's like Addison's disease, like any other type of adrenal condition, Cushing syndrome, those kinds of things that are endocrine disorders, those are reasons to kind of say, hey, maybe we need some help adding on HRT on top of that. But if it's just HRT and you don't have other endocrine conditions, like it may be that your personal primary care doesn't really do trans healthcare, and that's totally fine. You might be able to find a clinic that either does that. I know Indiana is one of the states that can be a bit tricky to navigate. some places you can also
Mm,
look at if you have finances, and that's where this gets a little bit less fun. Things that do online, like concierge type medicine, like Folks, Plume, are some great options. And depending on your state, they can like give you the virtual visit and then deliver your meds to your door or deliver it to a pharmacy like close by. That does cost a little bit more because you're kind of paying for the extra service. But if that's not an option for you, I would suggest like trying to find a primary care person who can like do that, who's comfortable doing that type of care. Otherwise, endocrinology is going to be pretty expensive and a really long wait list. So,
okay.
any thoughts on that?
Yeah, because was like, because the other place handles my meds, my primary care
Mhm.
doesn't want to prescribe any HRT, and the place I get my meds from, they, uh, I think she doesn't have the. She's a nurse practitioner, and I think she doesn't have the ability to give me HRT.
Yeah, that's a
And
state by state thing. But
uh,
do you, does the place so you get your meds from a different place than your primary care? Or does your primary care prescribe any medications, or
um,
is this a different
no,
specialty of clinic that does medications?
uh, when I started seeing when I started going to the other place for psychiatric care or
Oh, it's psych.
brain
Okay.
no, yeah,
Well, a psychiatrist isn't going to prescribe HRT anyway. So, like, you're
yeah,
going to need to
er,
find like either family medicine or internal medicine, and then they're going to be family medicine is probably going to be more reliable for finding someone that will do HRT. So I would say even trying to and it could be something too where you might be able to get in on like as a patient just for HRT if there's a place that has a provider that's capable of doing that. Otherwise, an option too is to just entirely look for a different primary care that can add that in. And that's something you're going to have to kind of do some work on your end and sift through like who you can afford or who's covered under your insurance. And then there might be some like even Reddit might be a helpful or an unhelpful place depending on who's on there. But sometimes people in your area will post on Reddit or something about their experiences with trans healthcare in a certain area and can give their recommendations. There are also some databases where you can find like trans affirming providers and probably see if they offer those services. So I think you'll have a bit of homework on your side there, but I think that'd be the
yeah,
most cost effective way if you're not looking to go for like a virtual thing. Does that help?
yeah, 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 the thing I got from the Pride Center, they wanted me to sign up for like a $20 a month thing with $100 a visit. I didn't know if like that's like normal for that, and I
Yeah, so that's like
I'm
the
guessing
service
like
I was talking about, like Folks or Plume does it that way, where it's under the model of concierge medicine where you pay like a monthly subscription, if you will, but then you get full access to provider and like for them to give you your prescriptions. You also have your labs covered under all of that. And usually too, if you need any letters for surgery, they will write the letters like included in that cost or for a little bit extra. So that is a bit more expensive. You get the convenience though of having somebody that you can pretty much go to with any questions and like you can message them and stuff usually and they'll help you figure stuff out. So um that's probably the option that they're giving you.
okay, it's just not very good with my finances, and I was just worried. And with my primary care not being able to or not wanting to, and the other one not being able to, I've just been worried for a while now, and trying to get my finances in order so I can progress. Then, but Thank you
Yeah,
all
I think
so much.
try to look at finding another primary care that can do that. But thanks for your
Yeah.
call. I hope things go better. Lux, do you have anything to add on this?
Not really. Like,
Or
uh,
okay.
Planned Parenthood does HRT. If you need to, like, pull the plug on insurance and just do the sliding scale route, then that is an option.
Okay. Thank you all
Yeah,
so
so
much.
you got
Y'all
a
have a
few
good day.
options. Thanks, you
Bye.
too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Work, work.
All right. Real quick, I just do want to announce the schedule for this upcoming week before we get lost in all the calls coming in now. So tomorrow we have a show. So don't think that the weekend is going without anything happening. Tomorrow, Arden is hosting Hostility with Mama Mephistopheles at 6 p.m. Central Time. So definitely go find that link and click that notify me thing so it alerts you when it's about to happen because that'll be a fantastic show.
Mama
Sunday we
Mephi is super cool. She is a member of my
yeah,
community, has been for years, and this necklace that you can barely see, she made it and sent it to me in my PO box. So you should come see Mama Mephi. She's very cool.
it's awesome. I'm so excited for that show as well. And on Sunday we have the Sunday show at 2 p.m. Central with Jimmy and GE, Godless Engineer. And then after dark, we have with Forrest Valkai and Durante Lamar. And then Skeptalk, we have Aaron Adair and Justin Deconstruction Zone. Chewed Gum is Taylor and Alyssa. And then the Hang Up, we have Matt and I don't know who else. Stay tuned. And then
To be
on
determined.
TACIS next week, uh, Ben, me, and Josie. So that is everything you have looking forward to. Go hit notify me and all those things and go leave some things in the side chat. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Any other announcements that we've got before we jump into another one?
If you missed LineCon, you can still see the VOD for $5 on Patreon. If you want to wait a couple more months, they will go live eventually, but right now you can go see the video on demand early for everybody, $5 or more on the Patreon. Check that out. And don't forget to hit like. Every single time you press on your screen, it helps us. So if you hit the like button, if you interact with our poll, if you type something in the chat, so just do that as often as humanly possible, and then we'll be good.
Absolutely. And go like every single video. Just click the like button. You don't
Mhm.
even have to stay and watch. It's great if you do stay and watch it, but also if you just want to go and like all them, that's totally appreciated. Um, and with that, do either do you have a preference on either one of these calls?
Um, I guess I don't really feel strongly about either one of them. Oh, there's
All
a third
right.
one that
I'll
just popped
just
in there, so I
oh yeah.
still don't feel
Oh,
very strongly
let's
about any of
do
these.
yeah, no, let's do that one because I talked a lot for the last one, and this one's more your
More a
thing.
me
So
question.
let's
Cool.
yeah, let's talk to Michael, he, him in Missouri. Sounds like you want to talk about non-binary and demigender. And luckily we have somebody who is not of a binary gender here with us. So I will let Lux take this away. But would you like to clarify anything about your question here?
Sure. I guess, a little bit of background. I've always identified as a cis man, and recently I've been, kind of thinking more about my own gender. And the more I've been thinking about it, I don't feel like I might be a trans woman at all. But at the same time, I find myself being like pretty far from masculinity. So I'm just trying to get like a better idea of what it means, like what non-binary is and what demigender might be. Based on what I've looked up, I might be a little more demigender, but I'm not 100% sure.
So my prerogative on this is the label is gonna be the last thing that you need to make sense of yourself, I think. Like, I think people get a little bit caught up in trying to find the right word and being like, which of these has the exact definition that explicitly fits? And like the thing is that there's so much crossover and overlap between the terms and what people mean by them, partially because it's
Hmm.
such a new space that we're kind of establishing language around. But also partially because, like, how many different ways can you say I feel a little bit like a boy, but not always? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking of like demi boy was the first time I came into experience with that because I come from like the trans masculine community. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, so I just personally have always found that I am better served by like finding my gender joy through like exploration of the different things that are gendered rather than like finding the label and moving from there. So like I used to identify as genderqueer, now I identify as agender, or most of the time I don't even get into that level of specificity. So for me, the label is just kind of like whatever. I'm just communicating very broadly. Like most of the time I'll just say non-binary. And I'm like, we don't really need to get into the details because being
Mhm.
non-binary is a big open umbrella and I can do whatever I want under that umbrella. Like I'm sitting here wearing makeup and like I've been on hormones and I've been off hormones and like it's just whatever is serving me at any particular moment in my life rather than being like caught up on a label in particular. So if you are finding that you are happier like exploring like a non-binary gendered space, um, then I would say cool. Like but just like pursue the happiness with that and worry about the specific labels, like maybe after you've settled into something, because I feel like it's
Okay.
hard to describe your experience if you haven't even figured out who that person is at the end of the line. So like maybe you will find in 2 years of exploration that you are a trans woman, or maybe you'll be
Mhm.
comfortable just identifying as genderqueer for the rest of your life. Like whatever works, but just pursue whatever is just like making you feel the best about yourself. And if a particular word comes up that you're like, girl, that's the word, it's going to be the same feeling as you're like, oh, that's the new name. I know what the new name is now. I figured that out. So it'll click at some point probably, but just don't focus too much on it is my advice.
Okay. Yeah, I think I definitely need to do a little more exploring and less like just research on the internet because the internet can only really show like definitions and they're not necessarily definitions that everybody's going to agree with.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think I need to maybe do a little more soul searching and actually you know, doing things too. Like I don't know, maybe change my hair or something like that.
Critically, Michael, make some friends that are queer people so that you can be around some
Mhm.
folks and get a feel for like, okay, well, here's some things about queer culture and which things in this do I fit in with? Like, I actually feel so much more connected to queer culture after having recently started a much more in-depth skincare routine. Like, I don't know why that just seems like a thing that the gays do. And so now I'm like, look at me with my gay little routine for my face. So yeah, the more you're around people, I think also will help provide clarity. Like, who do you feel you fit in with? Are you fitting in with the girlies, or like, are you fitting in more with the people who are like glitter beard drag type people? Like, find your
Mhm.
people out there in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
with that,
recently
like
I've
from
been
a
feeling kind of apathetic about
oh,
my gender.
Mm.
Maybe just because of, you know, I haven't had very many I haven't really felt super masculine like throughout my life, but I think recently just like seeing how a lot of cis men behave, especially around, you know, trans people, it kind of gives me the ick, and maybe I'm internalizing that a little bit. I don't know.
and that's something I wanted to jump in on too, like, because as a binary trans person, like, I think there's a pretty stereotypical, like, non-binary to trans man or non-binary to trans woman pipeline because I think for a lot of people it seems like such a big jump to go all the way to the other side, if you will.
Hmm.
And I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome involved for people, so they're like, "Oh, I'll just, I'm not that, I might
It
be
feels
this, but I'm not
safer
I'm
and
not
less
I'm not a
committal to
trans."
say you're non-binary. Yeah.
Yeah, it does, and then you also learn that there's a lot more shit that non-binary people have to deal with that binary trans people don't. I mean, they're just different experiences. Like neither one is more or less difficult than the other because they're all completely different experiences. But like, it's okay for your identity to change over time, and it's also okay to like think through your own experiences and think, do I feel this way? Like how do I view my own self, and how am I going to be happiest, and not am I scared to be this other thing, like, or do I think I'm not good enough of a man or good enough of a woman to be like a binary trans person. And with that too, like, what you're saying about, not wanting to associate with cis men, like, that's totally totally reasonable. Like, part of my experience was, am I not a woman, or do I just hate the way that women are treated? Like, do I hate being a woman in this society, or am I not a woman? And it sounds like you
Mm.
might be going through similar things of like, am I not a man, or do I just not want to be a man under this cultural setting? And that's something for you to kind of think through on your own as well.
Okay.
So, any thoughts on any of that?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like, I think in terms of like, the non-binary being like a pipeline, I think before I even thought about non-binary, I seriously considered like, hey, am I a trans woman? And the more I thought about it, on one hand, like there's a lot about masculinity that I'm like just don't identify with, but there's also just a lot on like I guess the femininity side that I don't like. It doesn't feel like me either. So I don't know. Maybe I'm agender or something.
That is a
Yeah, it
whole ass
sounds like you've done a
possibility.
lot of homework. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of homework already, and I hope we've helped at least a little bit with some of this. But I'm sure you're
Yeah.
everything will be so dynamic for you kind of as you go forward. But I'm excited for you to learn more about yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the pointers, and hey, if I make any, you know, big steps, I'll try and call back in.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
we'd love about it. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right. And real quick, before we get too lost in the weeds, you can submit a $5 or more super chat to make either Lux or me have to argue something very silly. So, in order to vote, you submit $5 or more super chat, and you include a hashtag Team Lux, hashtag Team Ben, or even if it's hashtag Ben, hashtag Lux, something like that. It has to have the hashtag and then the name right after it. And that's how you vote for the person you want to win. The person who loses has to do the thing. So if you vote for Lux, that's saying you don't want Lux to do the argument, you want me to do the argument. So just to clear that up, so uh, no one can get mad at us for not being clear about it. But get
True.
in your super chats, and we will read them if it's $5 or more at the end of the show. So get those in. If you have a favorite caller, a least favorite caller, you can let us know and give us a vote at the same time. All right, we had a big wave of people calling in.
Yes.
Let's talk to. I think the last one looks interesting.
14.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
sounds
you good
good.
for that one? Okay. We're gonna talk to Sam, he, him from the USA. Sounds like pronouns are impractical and you find using pronouns difficult. Can you tell us a bit more about how you feel about pronouns?
Uh, Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey,
What's up?
yeah, hey, Dr. Ben and Lux. So the problem I have is, like, I'll give one scenario. So we at work had one cis female who went by they and them. So, um, she was presenting as a female. She was cis female. So, but the pronouns she preferred was, they preferred was they them. So it was hard. I mean, when you think about a person, you just remember like their voice, their how they how they present, and then you start relating to she her. But you don't happen to actually think, hey, it should be they, them, or that's what they prefer, right?
I don't
So,
know, because
you know,
I don't know why you're struggling with that, because I like it's pretty easy for me to not use certain pronouns with Lux. So I don't see like I get that it seems like it's such an inconvenience, but do you just make up names when you talk to people, or do you take the time to learn that person's name and then use that name for them?
yeah. So that's the thing. So right now, so with the preferred pronoun, it seems like apart from knowing their name, we also need to remember their pronouns as well.
And isn't
So
that so much
for
easier?
me,
Because there's like
yeah,
infinite names, but there's only like 3 pronouns.
yeah. But that was one example. But if there were more, people in our office where some are gender binary, male to female, who prefer to go by her, and some might go by them. Um, so it feels like it's natural that you look at, I mean, you think about how the person looks, and then you immediately, find out, you go with he, him, or she, her. Um,
Sam,
and if it,
do you think that it's always reliable what we assume somebody is? Like, have you ever messed up calling somebody ma'am when they're a guy? Have you ever made a mistake like that?
yeah, once, so in our office, once we had a male to female trans, but they presented
No, but
as gender
even
binary.
for a person who's not trans, even for a person who's not trans, have you ever seen somebody who like maybe a guy with long hair that maybe you couldn't see them from the front, and like have you ever messed up someone's gender that way, or have you ever called someone the wrong gender over the phone? Like, has that ever happened to you?
Uh, Probably once, maybe, because they had long hair, and I was looking at them from the back.
Yeah, so do you think that it's it would be more respectful instead of messing up and assuming that somebody with long hair is a she her? Maybe instead we could ask people and say, "Hey, what should I call you?" And then we can just adjust to that. Like, isn't that better than just making the assumption in your head?
Yeah, yeah. So what you're saying is right, but you know, uh, but most of the time, like, we just remember the name. So now we are
Right, you
supposed to
just put
even
in a little
ask
bit
their
extra
pronouns.
effort. You put in a little bit extra effort to changing over to different pronouns. Like, uh, eh, if someone gets married, do you call them by their new last name, or do you still stick to the old one?
Okay. So would the onus be on us to ask what their preferred pronoun
Yes.
is, or would the onus be on
Yes.
them to say that?
Well, we are social creatures, so I wanna butt in here and say that, like, conversations happen, with 2 people most of the time. So, like, it is, like, if a person, like, so for people who, like, have a very clearly binary gender presentation but use they, them pronouns, like, we know that people are going to reflexively see us one way, probably. So we are probably going to be proactive in saying something, or at least understanding when people make a mistake. And then at that point, our job is to just say, by the way, I had this happen with Forrest last week. We hadn't properly introduced, and so he called me she, her pronouns. And I was like, in the little text, I was just like, hey, Forrest, I use it, they pronouns. And then he was like, oh, shoot, I messed up. Let me just acknowledge that I messed up, and then let's move on. So we were having technical difficulties before the stream or something, so I didn't have a chance to introduce myself. If you are looking at someone and you are not sure what their pronouns are, you can ask, or you also have the option of saying, hi, my name is Sam. I use he, him pronouns. And then that gives that person the space to also introduce themselves if they want to. Um, so that's just how I handle things socially. That's what I think is the best thing to handle socially. I also feel like it's worth pointing out that your assessment that this is a cis female may not be accurate if this person is asking for people to use they them pronouns. Like, yes, I also have lots of feminine binary, or sorry, feminine non-binary friends for whom most people would probably reflexively say she her. and then you get to know them, and then you're like, oh, okay, I will correct myself and use the correct pronouns. Yeah, so I guess that's just what I wanted to butt in there with.
Okay. So how about in social situations like where you're meeting like few folks at a time, and you're meeting someone who prefers a different pronoun than what they look like. Like for example, a cis female looks like a cis female, but they prefer they them.
I mean, like I said, I think it's like I would love it to be normalized as just part of, hey, my name is such and such,
Yeah.
my pronouns, blah, 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 because it's the same function. Like what's happening is you're saying, like, this is how I want you to call me, whether it's your name or whether it's your pronouns. So it just makes sense, I guess, to me in a world where and like English um, obviously has gendered pronouns, but other languages don't, or they have pronouns that are gendered in different ways. Uh, so I think part of it too is that as English speakers, that we have that association between gender and pronouns, and so part of this process will kind of unfuck that part of your brain a little bit. Like once you do this enough times, you'll still be like, for the sake of convenience, for the most part, I might think of a person as like she or he as they walk past me on the street. Um, but once you get to know the person, it's like pretty easy to correct because then it's a fact about them as a human being. And you kind of update your brain and go, oh, that person's non binary. So the fact that I know that about them means that I'm more likely to use they, them pronouns or be more likely to be sensitive around it and like paying attention. And you don't have to do that for everybody, right, Sam? Like you've got probably plenty of cisgender people in your workplace who you don't have to do that extra work for. So really, if only like 5 people amongst our circle of at least 100 people that we come in contact with on a regular basis, or whatever the number is, if only a percentage of those people need you to make this adjustment, then ultimately it's not that much extra work.
Okay. And another question I have is, so is there a reason why a cis male or a cis female would want to use the they them pronoun?
Yeah, because it's a personal preference. If they want to use that, like that's what they want to use. And it might mean that they are not cis, like we were just saying. It also might just mean they don't really want to opt into the gender norms as we have them. They might be making a different kind of statement on that, or they might just feel uncomfortable with that. And their reasons are their own reasons. I mean, like I could at any point like just tell someone that my name is something different. I don't have to legally change my name. No one's gonna really fact check me for the most part. If I said my name is Tom, like I have every right to do that. Like, hey, my nickname is Tom, and this is what I go by. Not everyone has to make sense of it, but I could have my own internal reasons for doing that. I mean, like, and another example of just where things like this are accepted, except for in terms of like pronouns. If we have people who use different honorifics or titles like Miss or Mrs. Like if someone says, "Hey, I'm not a Mrs. I'm a Miss," or they say, "I'm not a Miss. I'm a Mrs." Like people often have no problem correcting themselves on that. Uh, but for some reason, it's so much harder for people to get the they them or other pronouns. So we do this all the time in society. It just seems like you're making an exception for this one in particular is hard to wrap my mind around, but all these other instances where you have to make social corrections are not as big of a deal.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Yeah, and one
Yeah.
more thing. So, I mean, in all of like the phone contacts, right? You just have the name, preferred name, and everything, but the preferred pronoun is not actually present. Is there
You
someone?
can
I
change
mean, is
that.
I mean,
If you
I know.
needed
Would
if you
would you?
needed a prompt there, you could put it next to their name. Or like there's a little spot you
I know.
could find her to
Yeah,
put
but
it.
would you
So
advocate for having a field because now, like LinkedIn, everywhere, that's already there. So, I mean, would you advocate for even having the preferred pronoun on the as a field on the phone contacts list?
yeah, I mean, it should be an
Why not?
option, and then if people wanna use it, they can use that option. Like, that'd be great. Normalize it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's all. I got nothing else. Thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
Alright.
We
Thanks for
appreciate
your
you
call,
calling in.
Sam.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
All right.
Oh gosh.
We
I
do
love how
have
there was
pretty
no
cool.
pushback. He was just like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
yeah.
next
That was
question." I'm
great.
like, All right." It kind of
Yeah,
was
no,
hard to
that
get
was
a
that was
read
great
on him, but
for sure. Yeah, we have a bunch of calls in the queue. We do need to get to our poll for today, so I might as well pull that up.
yeah, let's do that. We are 40
Yeah,
minutes into the
before I
show.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this week's poll: do you think Democrats will forfeit trans healthcare to the GOP in order to reopen the government? What are your thoughts, Lux?
Good gracious. So yeah, of course. Like, do I think let's rephrase the question. Do I think the Democrats are going to suddenly grow a spine and decide to protect trans people instead of repeatedly throwing us under the bus? Girl, no, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. But it is interesting, like just generally the shutdown. I know some people are attributing this to like incompetence on the part of the Republicans. Like, why is it that when y'all have control over like both houses of Congress and the presidency and the courts, why are y'all having a shutdown? Also, the last time there was a government shutdown was under the same conditions under Trump's last presidency. So, I think there is a little bit of that like speculative speculation on like this being just like an incompetence thing. But honestly, this does give Trump broad discretion to just determine which services are essential and which are not, in the same way that Doge was just kind of without accountability, deciding who to fire and everything without further accountability. So I have seen some people also speculating that this was like a deliberate thing, that they were always planning on there being a shutdown because it allows them to extend further executive powers. Um, which of course I am worried about. Like everything that happens lately, I'm just like, well, that's concerning. I'm gonna go crochet some more, I guess. Like, I don't there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat with this. Like, I agree. The question, like, should do we think that the Democrats are actually going to help us? No, they really have not been. Like, very minimally so when it serves them. But like, I know Arden and I were talking before the show that just like this whole situation is such a clusterfuck, and the Dems just think that they're going to keep doing things as they have been and aren't going to make any changes to how they approach any of this. And like, you just all look like a bunch of losers. And it's like we've got this very critical time where we need things to happen now. We need people to step up now, and people are twiddling their thumbs like, but we'll be okay. And it's kind of terrifying, honestly.
Yep, I'm just like checking out. And I don't even
Yeah.
it's like I'm really glad to move to Oregon and I really want other people to move here too, but it also just does suck that it even then you can't really fully feel safe because they're like deploying the National Guard to Portland. Um so yeah, it's kind of annoying, but whatever. We're doing our best. We got to
Yeah.
survive
Maybe
the
the National
fascism.
Guard can Yeah, maybe the National Guard can pick up trash in Portland
I
too.
think that might be what they're doing. They might be picking up leaves and stuff
Yeah.
because yeah, the
Yeah.
they're starting to fill up the streets.
Yeah, for sure. All
Cleaning up the
right.
trash,
Do you
i.e.
have
the leaves.
the leaves? Yeah. Do you have any preference on these calls? I know one person particularly has beef with you. I don't know
Yeah, so
how
let's
you
talk
feel
to
about that.
Fuzzy who has beef with me. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, Fuzzy, they them from Israel.
Hello.
Go for it.
Not really beef. Like, come on, just some questions.
All right, all right.
Recently, you said something about how you're not, you prefer not to look deeper into the reasons behind people being trans, such as developing gender dysphoria and such. And my question is like, isn't that kind of anti-scientific, like anti-curiosity and stuff? Like, I understand
No, it's
the
not.
concern because eugenicism, but
No,
like,
it's not.
I
No,
mean,
also
I
you
I'm
think
in
that
agreement
know the
with
reason.
Lux if that is Lux's position.
sure. Yeah, so I just want to make sure I want to clarify my position on this and clarify my reasons for it. So the question is like if there is some cause behind being trans, why would we not want to find that? And like and to be clear, there is research and there is speculation, and we do have possible causes to look into, like, maybe it's exposure to hormones in utero. Like, my mom had PCOS. Maybe I was exposed to a higher than normal amount of testosterone at some point because her body has higher than average testosterone for a female. So, like, maybe that's why my brain is trans. Like, I don't know. But, like, the problem with this is that but this is not going to help us solve a problem. So, like, when you're saying anti-science, like, a lot of the times in science, we don't just do things for the fuck of it, like just for the hell of it. We do things with like a purpose to like better humanity. We're trying to solve a specific problem. Yes, sometimes happy accidents happen, like at NASA. They're trying to develop X and they end up with Y, and then they repackage it into Z. And like, so there's like a whole scientific process that can happen when you're like tinkering with engineering. But as far as like medical research, what problem are we trying to solve? Like, what human good is there going to be, especially when we have finite resources to do that kind of research? Like, I would much rather have a more robust study of how progesterone affects transgender women after like several years of use, like, because
And
there's
where
all
you
this
should take it
research
up
that says
from.
that. Sorry.
And where you should take it up from.
Right, yeah, sure, yeah. So like, and like efficacy, is it more effective for trans men to take intramuscular injections or subcutaneous injections? Are injections more useful for trans women than pills? Like, that is a practical medical problem that we could be solving. Whereas if we're trying to find what the root cause of transness is, the only reason to do that is so that you can cure it. Like, you're searching for a problem that you can fix. Like, there is no real like medical utility or political utility
I
to
mean,
finding like the trans thing in your brain or the trans gene or
I mean,
whatever. The only thing that does is open us up to eugenics.
preventing gender dysphoria would save a lot of life and a lot of turmoil.
Did you say
Even if
preventing gender dysphoria?
preventing gender dysphoria,
You
I
said
know there are a bunch
preventing?
of other ways to do
Because
it,
that's
except
eugenics.
science. How so?
So if you want to prevent a type of person from existing, which is what happens if you're saying I want to prevent gender dysphoria, basically what you're doing is like, I want to prevent people from being trans. Like, whether you mean for that to be your stated intent, that is
I
the
mean, you can
effect, like
be
that
trans
fewer people
without
would be
gender
trans.
dysphoria.
I feel like that's a really dishonest response.
Uh, oh, I mean, I am being serious. Like, I don't, I like trans people. I am a non-binary myself, but like,
Finding what makes people trans is not going to help us eliminate dysphoria. Like, what are you thinking? We test children at age 10 and find something in their brain, and then what, do we just give them medicine much earlier? Like, what is the medical utility?
no, it could be society, like from a societal perspective, not even that medical.
How can
Like,
But
you
see,
explain to
like
me in detail how this helps trans people? Like, how do you think this helps trans people to have like a test or a blood test or a brain scan or something that definitively says you are trans for sure? Like, how does that help us?
I'm not specifically talking about like a scan that like says it ahead of time. I'm just saying maybe there is a way to prevent gender dysphoria, and I think a lot of trans people would be for it.
which no, so it would not prevent gender dysphoria, because also cis people have gender dysphoria, so it would not do anything for that. And what it would do that I think you're not
Oh,
considering is that it would gatekeep medicine further,
Yeah.
because what you're doing
this
is
is
now you would
true.
add a diagnostic criterion, because if people find a specific
I
thing
don't think of that.
that is thought to cause people to be trans, what they're going to do is they're going to say, do you have this particular feature? They're going to test for it, and if you do not have that feature, you are more likely to be denied healthcare for it, because like, let's
Yeah.
be real, especially in our system. I know you're not in the US, but in the US, if you do not meet very
Not much
specific
better over here.
criteria, insurance, and even if you do meet all of the criteria, insurance will still tell you no a lot of the time. So what it would do, it would further inhibit people who need gender affirming care from getting access to it. So I get that you mean well, but the thing is, having a specific answer isn't always beneficial, and sometimes it is detrimental to do that for the reasons that we're giving you. And the you in trying to find like a benefit, like when we're talking medically, scientifically, you can't just posit a hypothesis of, I think that this will help the community. You need to have numbers that say this is the risk reduction like ratio. Like you have to calculate out, how beneficial is this going to be? How many people do we have to get tested for this to give any meaningful result or any merit or utility? Like all that has to be measured. So even if hypothetically from your side, like let's if I gave you the benefit of the doubt and said there's no problems with this whatsoever, there still have to be demonstration that having that test at all would improve outcomes. And so you're
I said
asking for
earlier that
a lot,
I'm not
and that position
specifically
does have a
referring
pretty
to a
high
test that says
burden.
ahead of time whether someone will have a dysphoria. I'm talking about like maybe societal, like if a society is like this, it would lead to less dysphoria in people.
But that's not finding out what makes people trans. That's a different argument than from what you started with, right? Because that is a question of people who are already trans, does adding on societal oppression make their symptoms worse? And that's something we have studies
No,
in. That's not investigating the cause of transness, right?
I mean, I'm not talking about the cause of transness. I'm talking about specifically gender dysphoria, which yes is present in cis people. I'm specifically referring, like, say for example, a post-gender society or societies that have more than two genders, like more than two
I
accepted
don't think
genders.
that
Would
we're
there
not
be
gonna
less
like
gender dysphoria
having a
in such
post-gender
societies?
society, even having a post-gender society is not going to eliminate gender dysphoria, because people are gonna have
Yeah, but
dysphoria with their bodies,
do
like,
we
and that
know
is
if
something
it
that's going to
relieves
need
it?
to be addressed. And so I think too, another problem is with this equation, you have too many variables to narrow down. Like gender dysphoria presents
Oh,
very differently in different people and has different causes in different people. Like because you have societal triggers for some people, you have anatomical triggers for other people. Like I don't think you can even narrow that down to a small set of variables. Like I think that's almost like a waste of a question in a way. Like instead, because like a study, if we're going to do one, is going to be very narrow and focus on a small subset of people. Like what would be more beneficial is look at, and things that we're already doing, look at specifically societal factors, and specifically looking at, let's say, school related trauma or like religion related trauma. It's like focusing specifically on those sources of very specific types of dysphoria in certain people. That's what we're already doing. So I think on that point, maybe we're in more of agreement if you think that stuff is appropriate. But I
yeah,
guess
that
we're
is the
kind of
type of
far
stuff
away from the
I'm
initial
referring
topic
to,
of
and I thought
discussion.
maybe Lux was against it.
Against finding a root cause? Is that where yeah, the original reason why you called is like, yes, I am against trying to find a root cause of transness. Also partially because I don't think that that exists. Like there is no gay gene, there is no trans gene, there is no one particular part of the brain that you could look at and say we can predict based on a number of previous brain scans that this person seems to have whatever, the same estrogen pathways that cisgender people do. Like that's one thing that we've found is that trans women's brains have estrogen pathways that resemble cisgender women's. Yeah, so there's little things like that, like that we have discovered. Nothing that
I
we
did not
can
seriously
use.
think about the way you said that it makes gateways like it makes it harder to get through the medical field. I did not think about that. That's something I
Yeah,
should have probably thought about because I'm
yeah.
dealing with such issues myself.
Because then there's yet
Uh,
another thing that cisgender people are saying you have to be at least this whatever, at least this tall to get into the HRT ride. Like it's you're just putting yet another
Yep.
thing in the roadblocks.
yeah.
Well, do you feel like I
All
have
right.
answered your objections?
I think for the most part, I still had some questions, but I'm kind of like still processing the information you just told me.
Sure.
So I'll eat through it in my head and do some other stuff.
Well, I'll be on a
I
bunch
don't
this
know.
month, so you can call back
Yeah,
in 2 weeks. I'll be back on.
yeah. I'm still after the fest. There was we fest in Israel. It's Yom Kippur, so my
Mm-hmm.
head is probably not in the best space right now to handle a lot of new information.
Yeah.
Sure. No worries.
Well, feel free to call back a different week and we can kind of continue this discussion. But thank you for your call.
Yeah, this was a nervous wreck, so I probably won't.
No,
But
you're
okay,
good. You're
thank you.
good.
It has been a pleasure to
Good.
talk.
Bye bye.
All right.
Bye.
Is Yom Kippur a fasting holiday? I don't know a lot about any of the
I'm not
ones that are
sure.
not Hanukkah, TBH.
Yeah, I don't want to talk out of my ass and offend somebody.
Sure.
I'm sure somebody in chat knows. All right. Any one of these stick out? Or I know some of them have been sitting on there for a while.
They've been sitting for a little bit, yeah. We have more
Yeah, so maybe
lines
we'll,
for objections
yeah.
and stuff too, you guys. So hit the like button really quick. Leave us your thoughts in the chat. All of that stuff helps show the stream to more people. And also share this because that might also help us pick up like people who otherwise wouldn't see the show. And we need like at least one good solid spicy call today. You know, like we're gonna keep
Mhm.
going. We'll have super chats and everything, but this show, it has 2 more hours to fill. So let's get some
Yep.
disagreements and some spiciness in today so that I can get my blood flowing before I have to go doing calling it now,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is gonna be fun. I was actually kind of
All
wondering,
right.
like, I like the political angle of calling it now, and I was kind of thinking, like, if should we on TACIS, like, instead of asking their religious affiliation like we do on other shows, if we could ask
Mhm.
like people's political affiliation? So we could be like,
Oh,
"Hey,
that'd
we
be
need a
fun. Yeah.
conservative caller." Yeah, like, or do you identify as a liberal or a progressive? Just like part of the screening process, which
Yeah.
obviously I'm creating more work for Jess. Shout out to Jess from Canada for screening for us. I'm not trying to make more work for her. I was just thinking like that this could be a fun, like useful thing for us to help select callers, maybe. So if you're
Yeah.
conservative,
Yeah.
if you're transphobic, or if you disagree with the fact that someone's called you transphobic before, you should call us at 720-619-2288. The number's on the screen.
Yes. All
But
right.
yeah,
Do you want to
we can just
talk
take them in
to?
order as far as I'm concerned, or whatever you want to
Cool. All
take.
right. Let's. Yeah. I'm just gonna go in order. They've been waiting a bit. So let's talk to Vicky. They them from Maryland. Tell us a bit more about your women's retreat experience. Sounds like it's been rough.
Well, hi. It's I'm sorry. Well, first of all, thank you for this. I appreciate what you're doing. I have been in transition for about a year and a half. I didn't discover that I was gender dysphoric until age 68, and I'm 70 now, and so I don't have a whole lot of time left. But I'm really trying to push to be a woman. I just got my nails done for Halloween. I'm dressing the part. I'm
Awesome.
really, really, really working hard to pass and get out there and really to be a woman. I suffered a little bit of a setback in that because, well, my wife was invited to this women's retreat, and I asked her, well, can I come too? And when she asked the person who was doing it, she said, oh, no, only women who were assigned female at birth can come. And I said, well, why was that? She says, well, she says, and you know, my wife is wonderful. This is not her words. She says, well, you were acculturated as a woman. You didn't grow up as one. You don't bleed like they do. And you're really just culturally appropriating the trappings of being a woman, but you're not a real woman.
So
And
she's going
that
to a
kind of set
women's
me
retreat
back.
that is just fully transphobic, and she is going to
Yeah.
agree to transphobic conditions so that she can go to a women's retreat. It doesn't really sound like
Yeah.
she's showing up as an ally in that situation, honestly. I don't like
No,
it when cis
my wife
partners
did
Yeah.
not. My
support
No.
wife did not
transphobic
go. She did not
environments.
go. She said, "No,
Oh,
thank you.
okay,
I'm
Oh,
not
cool,
the
cool,
going."
wife
cool,
did
cool.
go. Awesome.
Ooh, girl, I was about to be mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
my
No.
immediate thought was the same, is that, like, that's a shitty conference, and
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't wanna go to that. Like, as much as it sucks to get rejected, like, the grounds that they're
Dodged a bullet,
doing so
honestly.
is yeah, you dodged a bullet because,
I'm-
like, who knows what they would have done there. It sounds like a JK Rowling cringe fest, so
Well, let me just tell you a
Yeah.
little bit about my wife. When she found out, first of all, we were married 50 years, and we're staying married. And she basically,
That's
when she found out I
wonderful.
was trans, first she said, "Let's go to the thrift store. I'll pick out some clothes for you." So
Love that.
it's been a very positive experience. But what set me back was the fact that I'm kind of thinking that this woman had a point, because no matter how hard I try to be a woman, I'm always going to end up falling a little bit short and being somewhere on the spectrum. And I'm just wondering, it sort of took some of the wind out of my sails for moving forward with my transition. And I'm really starting to think I should just put it on pause for a while and see where things sort of settle. And I was just wondering, I mean, because I've heard so many stories of people who transition when they're older, and my story doesn't seem to be much different from other people's. And so I thought maybe I could talk to you guys and see what your thoughts were on it.
And first of all, like I know it's difficult to get out of the imposter syndrome phase, especially when people are constantly telling you that you're not valid. But the idea that you're always going to fall short of being a woman is absolutely untrue. And you should try to self talk your way out of that, because I don't want you to believe that. And the rhetoric that these people are using, like, they're gonna constantly move the goalpost to exclude you, like with the sole purpose of being exclusive. Like, there are plenty of women out there who don't meet their own criteria that they set. There are plenty of cis women who don't bleed. There are plenty of cis women who haven't experienced every little thing about being a woman that these people claim. And it's all just to gatekeep who gets to wear the label of a woman. And you are absolutely valid. You don't need to worry about whether or not you're good enough in that. So I just wanted to get that out there for you.
What you said, okay, thank you. What you said in the first caller I was listening to was very valid. In fact, it was, maybe I'm just staying non-binary. I mean, I feel more comfortable being dressed as a woman. I feel more comfortable, but it's a lot of work. At 70 years old, it is a lot of work for me to appear as feminine.
It's a lot of work for a lot of women.
A lot of times only because
I want to be clear too that a lot of women feel the same way. Like a lot of cis women are like, I'm not woman enough. Like, especially like, okay, so I think that there's a particular overlap here where a lot of trans women maybe feel like they can't be a woman. And part of that feeling is feeling like you can't be an attractive woman. And so I think that a lot of cisgender women who are not meeting standard beauty standards, like if they're overweight or if they have like a disfigurement or even if they're just like, less than symmetrical facial features or whatever, the beauty standards, plenty of, I mean, colloquially, ugly women also feel like they are boxed out of womanhood because they're not treated as well as women who are more conventionally attractive. And so, but that doesn't mean that they're not women. And like plenty of women feel like it's a lot of work, learning about makeup and skincare and hair care and all these things that like there's expectations on women to do all those things. It's a whole new like cabinet full of hobbies. And like things that you have to buy and pay for and everything. So, and one thing that I do want to say as a kind of reassurance, I guess, is that like there is this thing that happens when we get older because for males, like testosterone goes down, and for females, they're in menopause and estrogen goes down. I do feel like old people kind of look quite similar to each other anyway in gendered terms. So I feel like it's not the worst time in the world to transition. You're not going to have like the much more noticeable distinctions that people in their 30s are dealing with. Like I think that maybe that is something to embrace, like the fact that older people can just be more androgynous naturally. And that whole the joke of like wives looking like their husbands and husbands looking like their wives as they get older, they just kind of merge into the same person. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go for it and be like, girl, I'm a woman, then just go for it. The only thing that's stopping you at this point is you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. It's good to hear it, though. I very much appreciate you talking to me.
Yeah. Don't feel discouraged.
So
It's a lot of work, but like
one
one
thing
step
I
at a
have
time.
in my favor is when I come out as woman, I come out as this little old lady, gray-haired old lady who nobody pays attention to anyway, so it's easier for me to pass.
There you go. Take advantage. They'll be helping you across the street in no time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions, or did we cover all of it for you?
No, pretty much it. I think the first caller, you covered a lot of things that I was going to bring up, so I don't have to do it now.
Cool.
Awesome.
Efficiency.
I'm glad
About
we could help.
non-binary, about being non-binary. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks,
All
Vicky.
right.
Call us back again if you want any further advice or if you want to share your success story or anything, and we'll be here.
Mhm.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So many wholesome calls today.
No.
We still got space for the spice. If you'd like to bring us some spice, call the number.
Call a number.
Next up, we have Ashling. I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm so bad with Irish spelling names.
Aslan.
She, her from Aslan. Is it Aslan?
I don't know. Something
Uh,
like that.
us from
Tell us how to
Australia.
pronounce it.
Please tell us how to pronounce your name, and then and then tell us your question.
Yeah, you both got it basically right, Ashlyn.
Okay.
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 What's your question today? How can we help you?
You kind of covered a lot when talking with Michael, but one of my questions was like, I'm 38, and I'd say that probably for 26 years it's been my dearest wish to be a woman, and for the last 10 years I've actively been questioning, am I trans? And it wasn't until 6 weeks ago that those two things actually connected in my head. And so my question is, like, is there advice that we're not giving people? Like, I've been watching TACIS for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, however long it's been going. Um, um, when Katie was hosting, that she often had the like magic button question, and I'd go, "Oh, well, yes, I would push the button, but there is no magic button." Um, um, so yeah, I guess that's I don't understand how I could have been questioning my gender or questioning am I trans for the last 10 years and also have had the experience of wanting to be a woman for 26 years and not have put those two things together.
Oh no, it took me forever to put the dots together as well because I lived in a household that, trans wasn't talked about. Like none of like being queer wasn't allowed. So we just didn't expose any of us to any of that. But I think like this is a difficult conversation of like could we do any more I mean, ideally we could have a society where gender exploration is encouraged, and people are taught about trans identities earlier on in life. I know like at a smaller scale that we could actually implement. It's gonna kind of be local things like it when people have kids, teaching them early on that being queer is okay and that trans people exist and all that. As far as like finding out later on, there's this delicate balance of like providing information and like I think a lot of that comes from sharing your own experience and just being like authentic with people around you, because there's a common phrase kind of within the trans community of like don't crack somebody else's egg. Like you if an egg is a person who isn't openly trans or oftentimes unaware that they're trans, like the only person who can come out to themselves is them. Like the only one who can make that determination is them. And you don't want to force somebody into that. You don't want to pressure them into that. You want them to come to terms with it on their own. And I remember distinctly, this was less so within my transition journey and more just into my journey into queer identities in general. Like when I found out that I wasn't a straight person, I remember sitting at a coffee shop like multiple times with a friend of mine who is openly lesbian. And we just, shared stories back and forth just about things that were going on. And like I remember her sitting there kind of smirking a little bit every time like I would say that our experiences were very similar. And sometimes the most helpful thing is to just sit there and let the other person talk, and then you chime in like, oh, my experience was the same way, and then they can hopefully start putting the pieces together. But Lux, do you have any other like a different perspective on this?
Um, I mean, yeah, I guess I just want to say, like, it's not uncommon for this thing to happen where that people are like, man, I really wish I was a girl. And then they just kind of don't think about that any deeper. And then they're like, oh, yeah, trans people exist, but that's not me. Like, you would be surprised how often this occurs. I don't know what it is. I get that. Yeah, I think it's just a lot of like cultural baggage probably that keeps us from connecting those dots together. And like also, yeah, it is a matter of messaging. Like, we don't tell people this enough, but we should tell people, if you want to be a woman, that's the first step to being a trans person. Like, that's the first indicator, or a man, opposite way around, blah blah blah, whatever. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah. So like, how many cisgender people sit there thinking, I really, really, really wish that I could press the magic button and wake up tomorrow. Um, and and it's a process of definitely like being able to accept yourself, to go, yeah, it's okay for me to feel this way. First of all, say I do feel this way, and it's okay for me to feel this way, and then go, okay, how am I going to choose to proceed with this? Am I going to act on it? Whatever. And yeah, for some people, like last caller, like sometimes it doesn't happen until you're almost 70 years old. Sometimes it happens to you when you're 14, like me. And sometimes you just carry it for 20 years before you finally put it together, I guess. But like, at least now that you know that those dots are connected, you can explore that area a little bit more, like from that position of self-awareness, rather than being like, oh, I've been watching TACIS for 5 years. Very egg behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I was, yeah, like I said, I was kind of identifying a bit with what you're saying on the call with Michael, is that like at first, probably, yeah, for the last few years, like whenever I have to put pronouns for a conference, I put they, them, and I go, oh,
Mm.
that doesn't really feel right. Um, um, but I guess I didn't make that further step of like, well, I also didn't want to put he, him. So, you know, in a way that only leaves, well, it leaves many, but it leaves one main option. Um, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like, congrats on figuring that out. Yeah, it's we so often
it's a big
find
step.
yeah, we find out like, oh, we are alienated from this thing, and so we start to create a little bit of distance, and then they them doesn't quite feel right. So yeah, it's a huge hurdle to get over that first time. Um, but then once you're there, yeah, I think that it's going to be a wonderful exploratory time of your life for sure.
Hmm.
yeah. I have
Well,
a
do you have
bit
any
of
other
a
questions?
I have a bit
Yeah,
of a
anything else
second
you want to
question,
throw in?
which is
Yeah,
being in
go for it. We got
Australia,
time.
um, like I spoke to my GP 4 weeks ago, and I had an appointment with a specialist in gender affirming care like 2 days ago, and I now have a script for HRT. Um, so I kind of feel a bit bad seeing all these things from the UK and from the US. Um, I also have been able to file to change my name and gender markers already. Um, um, so yeah, I have very like obviously that's something I want to do, um, but it makes me feel bad that other people can't, and I don't know how to feel about that. Um,
It's a survivor's
Yeah,
guilt thing. So you might have to just
yeah,
look into resources to help survivor's guilt. Like, obviously, it is not your fault that you live in a sane and good country. Like, oh man, moving to Australia would be a hell of an endeavor, but I'm, contemplating it. Yeah, so it's totally a survivor's guilt thing. Don't feel bad just because, other countries are cracking down. Like, I feel like we should not guilt ourselves for being in a safe place, for moving to a safe place. Like, I like the fact that I was able to rely on the community contributions and like the empathy of the people in my community to move across, even just within my country, 2,000 miles, to a safer place. That is a form of privilege. But like, all I can do is pay it forward. So I guess, yeah, in that way, if there is some kind of like, if you feel that there is an amount of like justified, you want to help other people, then yeah, like run with that feeling too. And if you have the extra money or whatever, like to donate to people's GoFundMe's and stuff, if you want to sponsor somebody to emigrate to your country, those are all things that you
Yeah.
could do to help, and that like could kind of help you with that feeling of like, oh, you have it better than other people. Like, okay, well, yeah, if we can acknowledge we have it better than other people sometimes, then I think it's our responsibility to help and pay it forward where we can, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not unconcerned about the direction Australia is moving either. Obviously, we have
Sure.
one country one state that's having its own version of the CAS review. So, um,
Mm.
um,
Every English speaking country just fucking sucks right now.
Yep.
I'm gonna move
Yeah.
to France.
okay.
Anything else? Anything else we can help
No,
with?
thank you for the good chat. It's 4 a.m. I've been on the line for an hour, so.
Oh, sure, yeah,
Oh,
please
sorry we left
get
you
some
for so
rest
long.
and enjoy your
Yeah.
weekend. It's
No
Friday
worries.
there.
Have a great day. Hope you get some sleep.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I forget that.
I feel bad now that we left them on the line for so long.
Yeah, I guess I should pay attention to I never like look super close at where they're from until I need to say it when I bring them on. But like, okay, yeah, keep in
Yeah.
mind if somebody's calling from the Philippines or Australia or Japan or something, it's
Should take
almost
them
certainly the
earlier.
middle of the night for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Um.
gosh.
Any of these stand out, or want to keep going in order?
I guess we can just keep taking them in order since this person here has been waiting for a little bit. We still have room,
All right.
y'all. If you disagree with us, call in. Share this stream with
Call.
someone who is a MAGA supporter in your family who you know is going to have a nice, juicy, obnoxious call.
Yeah, and you people in the side chat, like I know there are people in side chats trying to start fights. Call in. We've got open lines. You can get platformed on the show. I mean, we won't let you
I'm not
necessarily get
reading your
away with saying
messages in the chat.
everything.
The moderators are
But
deleting your messages before I can even see them.
if you want to get on the show, like just call instead of just hiding behind your little avatar in the side chat. But with that, we're gonna take Natty, pronouns are they, them, from Brazil. You are live on the Transatlantic Call-In Show. It sounds like you want to talk about this wave of transphobia and what that means for trans people in the future. Tell us a bit more about your thoughts.
Oh, hi, first of all, and hi, chat. It's like my fourth time calling the line.
Cool.
So I don't know much about the history of the U.S., but correct me if I'm wrong. There's always been at least one wave of just bigoted people, like against black people, against gay people. I think even against Italians. Like I think during World War II, if I remember history correctly. I don't remember exactly. But it seems to me that, like through history, uh, it has always been a step. Like a lot of people push against this group, but then the group persists, and then everyone's like, "Oh, actually, it wasn't a big deal after all, and we could just accept people." So my thought is, the current wave of transphobia, is it just really a step that trans people have to go through in order to be accepted? Because apparently that's just how history goes.
I mean, I would feel more confident in being able to make a predictive statement if there were like very many times in human history where trans people haven't been the subject of persecution. Um, like it felt like there wasn't a wave of persecution that preceded the Weimar Republic. Like speaking of World War II, like prior to the Nazi takeover, the government in Germany was called the Weimar Republic, and it was a really safe time to be trans. Actually, it was like Berlin was like a gay hub. If you think of like San Francisco in the United States now and how it's like that's where all the gay people are. That's what Berlin was like in Europe. So like it seems to me as though the one clear recent example of a time when trans people were receiving acceptance, it was followed by an extreme backlash, And I actually think that that's what we have just witnessed in the last 10, 12 years is we were temporarily receiving some rights. We got the gay marriage thing, a little bit more spotlight on trans acceptance. And then there is a violent backlash that we are living through right now, which has to be defeated. And then it will take 50 more years to get back to a similar level of acceptance unless we work our asses off. And that was part of the problem with the Holocaust and like World War II was that trans and gay people were jailed again after they were freed from the Nazi camps. So like if we cannot do that this time, if we defeat this wave of fascism and we can say, trans people are valid, they do not deserve to remain in prison, let's free them like everybody else who was persecuted, then maybe it will not take 50 years for us to recover. And like the research is also disseminated in a different way. Like we have all these different electronic servers to store data and information. So there isn't one library they can burn down to get rid of all of the trans information, such as what they did at the Hirschfeld Institute. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on that, I guess.
Yeah, because this train of thought occurred to me because it to some extent gives me kind of bit of hope because it's like, hey, this happened with so many people before, and that now just like seeing them on the street is not something to attack them for. That it's just something that trans people have to push through, and everyone will be better off in the end. You know?
It's hard to say exactly what's going to happen. I do think it is important to maintain some of that hope because like the reality is we have to fight this. Like we don't have any other option. Like we have to fight and at least hope for something better. I know that the pendulum is going to keep swinging forever. Like there's always going to be like some progression and then some regression, and we'll see eventually where any of this ends up. um, I think part of the issue too right now, at least in terms of the US, is that everything is so chaotic and we're going through like some things that are unprecedented in the US, like things that I think a lot of people didn't expect to happen on US soil. So there's a lot of variables being thrown in that we don't quite know how to deal with yet, and our system doesn't know how to deal with yet. Uh, so I think from that perspective, it's a bit hard to say where things are going to end up or like how long things are going to take to make progress. I do think we need to maintain that hope and fight because we don't have a choice at this point. So
Pretty much.
Just yeah, that's just what I thought I had because I don't really know very much of the history of the U.S., but that seemed to me like a constant of people push back. Um, there's a struggle, and then there's progress, and then there's
Well,
another group comes in, and then there's pushback, and then
well,
there's
but
struggle,
it
and then
feels
progress.
maybe from the outside like, yeah, we just solved the civil rights problem in the 60s, but it's still a problem. Like, it's like none of these issues have ever actually been solved. None of these issues have actually gone away in my country. Like, we are still a hella racist country against black people, against immigrants. Like, we have always been a place where there is like division and bigotry and hatred. My country was founded on the bloodshed of uncounted Native Americans and black people, um, to build everything that this country is now. So yeah, it feels like we go through cycles maybe where things start to get a little bit more progressive. Like we're trying to claw what is a fundamentally flawed institution into a more modern era, and like I don't even know if that's possible. um whether that's like the government itself or the society, like it's going to have a lot of growing pains and everything. We can hope that things are going to get better. I think that we are on a trajectory for things to probably get a lot more chaotic before they start to feel like things are getting better. um and so I am always just on the side of like, let's form communities, like let's form small scale supportive networks and just focus on the people immediately around us who we can help directly. And I'm worrying a lot less about what's going to happen on the broad scale. Like, is there going to be broad acceptance of trans people within my lifetime? Probably not. I'm not really fighting for that anymore now because I don't think it's going to happen. What I'm fighting for is communities of people who support one another, and hopefully through that being like trans people are being normalized by just being present in the community in that way. Um, that's just my angle though.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I do see that the U.S. is still extremely prejudiced. What I mean is like there still seems to be more progress and pushback. Like segregation isn't a thing for the most part anymore.
It's
You're
just
not
unofficial
killing.
now.
There's not.
That's the problem though,
Yeah,
is
like
like all of these things are still happening, they're just happening unofficially. Like redlining still
Hmm.
happens. Like, so there's entire cities like where they put a big highway down, and on the left side of the highway is a slum, and on the right side of the highway are like fancy houses. And you can probably guess what the racial divides are there. So that's the problem, is that yes, we're not officially as racist now, but like all of the fucked up racist things are still very much present, still very much being carried forward into today. So it's hard for me to, I guess, acquiesce to the point that like, well, things got better. Like, they changed forms. We stopped
Hmm.
putting people directly in chains and then started jailing them and making them do labor in jail for bullshit drug crimes.
Yeah.
mm, yeah, that's a good point because there is a famous image from Brazil that is often used as a way to like as a way to have a gotcha against like capitalism versus communism. I don't know if you ever saw, which is like a really nice like apartment, and right on the other side of the wall, which is like a big slum. That's from Brazil, and yeah, no, that's a really good point. I only have one question that is mostly out of curiosity because I'm from Brazil. I don't know how things work there, but I've heard a trans friend of mine that said that there seems to be a deadline for people to like, especially trans people, to move out of the country, and which is like May of next year, because apparently the government is also trying to stop states being able to defend the constituents from federal law.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. Can you repeat your question?
Oh yeah, that apparently there's a deadline for a quote unquote deadline for trans people to leave the U.S. because acco- apparently in May of next year they're gonna start trying to stop the state from being able to defend people from federal law.
Oh, well, they're kind of already. I
Oh,
don't know of any specific
yeah.
thing, but like, I mean, the like Trump, like I moved to the state of Oregon, which is like a nice place just north of California. And the Trump is like, I'm sending in the National Guard to the biggest city in Oregon. And like, I don't live very far away from there. So it's like, there is very much like the federal, overstepping into the rights of the states, and like trying to impose things on us, and in my opinion trying to normalize the presence of the military as we approach our midterm elections. Um, so yeah, no, that's definitely already happening, and the thing is that there is no one clear moment or one clear deadline to get out of the country or whatever. Um, and there's lots of us who don't want to leave. Like I have had to just recently face that head on. I do not want to leave. I will not be fleeing to Canada. I probably will get a passport just for the sake of having like a really official form of ID, but I will not go. Like I already moved from a place that I love to another place that I'm hoping to love as much, and yeah, so I'm just not going to. And even for people who do want to leave, it's just like they have to make a personal assessment and hope that they can get out on the timeline that they've expected. Like I have a family who I know in Texas who are trying to move to France, and they've been delayed by like months because of just random bullshit. So whatever happens, it's not easy to leave. And I would say that I would not say that there's a clear deadline. Just that things are going to get scary, and people have to make that choice for themselves. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that just got me
Yeah.
particularly worried because I do have quite a few friends in the U.S. that are trans, and I am really worried not only for them but like all the people in the U.S. right now.
And I think that that worry is totally justified. If you feel like Brazil is a safe place and you can sponsor someone to immigrate there, um, that is something I've been suggesting when people are like, I'm outside the US, but I still want to help. Like, I don't really know a lot about the immigration process, but I do know that sometimes it can help to have somebody in the target country to help you transition into that. So, um, yeah, if you are able to extend any assistance like that, or if you are able to like, you know, Brazil is Portuguese, right? So if somebody is American, if they can't read Portuguese, if you tell them like, here's the website that you need to look at, I was able to read it. Here you take this and like figure it out from there. That kind of help is also useful.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for calling.
Thank you for your call. Have a great day.
You too.
I think we have gotten a couple new
All right.
callers.
Yeah. There's one. Oh, one of them dropped. The one I was gonna take
No,
next dropped.
no,
I'm so
John,
frustrated. John, call back
John.
in. We're gonna take you next. Like I promise. We're just waiting. Like just finish up the call, but we want to talk to you. So get back in.
Looking
Uh,
forward to it and everything. God, what is wrong with you?
this
That's
next
like we
one.
had a
This next
Joe
one is
last
a
week who did the
actually.
same
Oh,
thing.
okay. This one we're gonna take this one that just came into the queue. Um, let's talk to Jeff. Is not giving any pronouns from
Oh, he's being
DC. It sounds
screened
like you
right
want.
now. Oh, did he just get in?
No,
Okay, cool. It
he
took a
just got
second.
in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like you want to talk about pronouns.
Yeah.
What's your issue with pronouns,
First,
Jeff?
first, first of all, I don't know your names because I just got on here and I saw what it was about. So, hi, I'm Jeff.
Hi, I'm Luxander. This is Dr. Ben.
You are
Hello,
on the
Alexander
Transatlantic
and
Colin
Dr.
Show.
Ben. Yeah, I'm so confused on pronouns. I'm. Why are we using them?
I mean, are
Well,
you asking
we
me a question about the English language and like why do
yeah.
we replace nouns with
No,
pronouns?
I'm just saying, why are we using pronouns now? Why? What
We've
made
always
it?
used pronouns. Jeff, we've always used
Yes, but
pronouns.
Can
okay,
you
I
explain
so
what you
mistake
mean
them
by
using we.
pronouns?
Yeah.
I'm a little
okay.
confused.
Well, let me put this a different way. So I'm a Gen Xer. I grew up very punk rock. I grew up very much about rights for everyone. I could care less if you're gay, straight, trans, or whatever. I'm whoever wants to be whatever they want to be. Let them. But now I also grew up in a generation where we started labeling things. And I feel like pronouns is a label.
Can you be specific what you mean by pronouns? Like when I hear the word pronouns, what I think is like the Schoolhouse Rock videos that I used to watch as a kid, and like I say I instead of my name every time, and I say like we are going instead of saying like Jeff and I are going. It's to make language easier to refer to things without using their proper nouns. So, are you like Jeff? Are you specifically meaning why are pronouns gendered in English? Like, I'm
Yes.
confused as to what the issue is.
Yes. Yes. That would be the easiest way to explain. Yes.
Because English
Why,
is a
why
descendant of
all of a
Latin.
sudden are we not? Why can't we just go by names? Why does somebody have to know what
Because
my pronoun is after my name?
Jeff, because if you don't know who the person is, like if I'm working at a Wendy's and somebody's coming up to the counter, and I'm talking to person, this customer, or like if I want to talk about that person, I can say he's out front. The person from the drive-thru is out front. He's out over there. That's easier than me having to ask what your name is, or like in pretty much any
No,
circumstance. It's easier to have
I get that.
another way to refer to
I
people than just saying their name. Jeff, you keep
Yeah.
chiming in with things. but it's not clarifying your position at all, because your statement just now was, well, why do we need to use pronouns and not just use names? And then I give you a reason, and then you bring kind of meaningless pushback on it. Like,
I
I
haven't
answered the
pushed
question
back
for
on
you.
it
Like,
yet.
what do you want to say?
So okay. So why did I get asked what my pronoun was when I called in here?
So that
Because
we
we
know
want to
how
be
to refer to
respectful.
you.
Yeah.
Say that again.
So that we know how to refer to you. In this, it's literally the same reason why we asked for your name. It's so that we can refer to you in the third person. It's just like a pronoun stands in for a proper noun. And because it's clunky. If I say, yeah, Jeff and I are going to go to the store because Jeff left Jeff's keys in Jeff's car. So we have to go get the thing to get back into Jeff's car. Like, this is just how language works. It tends to diversify language so that it's not super duper repetitive like that. And God forbid your name is like Nathaniel or something. Then you're taking up so much more space. Nathaniel left Nathaniel's keys in Nathaniel's car. So I'm going to drive Nathaniel to the store so that Nathaniel can buy something. Like, you see, that's why we have pronouns. Like,
Yes, I understand. And I'm getting crucified in the chat, which I think is hilarious.
just ignore the
But
chat. They pop off all the time.
yeah, I know. I don't really give a shit about that. That's, they can say whatever they want. First Amendment, Jimmy Kimmel. So here's my thing. I don't understand why, if I'm standing in front of you and you can clearly see what I am, and I say, hey, my name is Jeff, why should I attach a he, him to it?
Jeff, because not everybody, you can't always tell what someone's pronouns are. Like, have you ever accidentally called someone the wrong gender before?
I have not.
You've never like
Are you
walked
sure
up to
about
somebody
that?
with long hair and been like, excuse
And
me,
accidentally
ma'am, and
said
then they
ma'am?
turn around and it's a man? That happens to my husband sometimes.
Look, if it's somebody with really long hair and they're wearing a dress and they turn around and it turns out to be a man, then yeah. But no, I've never done that.
Well,
I've
even if they're
never
not
looked
wearing,
at some.
Jeff, your arguments are not kind of going along with the point. Like, we're saying, like, there are some people even who are dressed androgynously. Somebody could be wearing a t-shirt and pants and have long hair. Is right. Women can wear t-shirts and pants. Like, not all women are going to be wearing dresses, right? So there are times when you don't know what someone's gender is. And instead of looking stupid and offending somebody and getting it wrong, we could just, ask them or leave room for them to tell us how they want to be addressed. And then that way, nobody has to look stupid in that encounter. Nobody, like, the phrase, like, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. Like, that's what we're saying. Like, we don't have to do that part. We could just be respectful from the get-go.
No,
right?
I totally agree with that. I
And what's your issue?
On a form.
Then what's your issue?
I guess I'm just like, why are you asking me this? I'm standing in front of, and now you've explained it. So, okay. I'm probably still never going to use pronouns. They're just so strange to me.
You do it all the time, Jeff. Are you kidding? Okay, hold on. Like, okay, so this is one of those situations where, like, I've been kind of being silly and flippant with you because I think that the way that you're stating your question is like you're being purposefully dumb. And I don't think you are, Jeff. Like, I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes, but it's like you understand that the utility of pronouns is to not have to say the proper noun every time. I guess you're taking issue with gendered pronouns, but I bet you that in your life, probably most people assume that you use he, him pronouns. I'm just guessing based on your voice. We get lots of callers in here whose voices do not match what I would have assumed their pronouns would be. So we often try not to make that assumption, but I'm going to say, based on your name and based on your voice, that you probably get he, him. Do you fucking stop every person who calls you he, him pronouns and say, actually call me Jeff?
I've done it before, yes.
Do you actually? Wow.
I
Okay.
said,
I
my
mean,
name, okay, here's an easy way. Somebody asked me in a class what my pronouns were, and I had no clue what the hell they were
that was not
talking
my
about.
question.
Like I
My
said,
question was when somebody says, "Hey, Jeff," or sorry, I was just in the elevator with Jeff. He was telling me a fun story about his weekend. Do you stop that person and correct them?
no.
Okay, then you are completely fine with gendered pronouns.
Okay.
Do you want someone to call you she, her?
No,
Would you
I'm
prefer it?
just a little confused on. Now we put it on LinkedIn. Now we put it here. Now we put it there. And
Sure.
Yes, it's a form of protection, Jeff. Like
And
what
it's
this sounds
exactly
like
the
to
same as
me.
putting your name down.
Yeah, like what this sounds like to me, Jeff, you are a person that does not get misgendered. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that you go around society very
no,
easily
you
and
guys
people
are
recognize
absolutely
that
correct.
you are a
I'm a
man. No,
very,
Jeff,
very
listen to me, Jeff.
heterosexual male.
Listen to me, Jeff. You are in a position where people very rarely misgender you. Am I correct? People assume that you are a man and you are okay with that. Is that correct?
You would be absolutely right.
Okay, so here's the thing. The world does not revolve around you, Jeff. You are not the only person who exists on this planet. There are other people who don't have that experience, who go into the world and they are treated differently than they identify. There are people who are women, even a lot of people who were assigned female at birth. So they were born, a doctor told them that they were a girl and they grew up and became a woman, and they don't fit the societal expectations for what a woman looks like, and some people might call them a man. Do you think those people deserve the dignity of being gendered correctly?
Of course they do.
So then that's the issue here, Jeff. Your question about why do we care about pronouns? It is for those people that don't have your fortunate experience of being treated the way you want to be treated at baseline. Like you have that privilege and that's awesome. We want that for other people too. And so this is my issue with your question. You're coming in here, you're trying to make it seem like you're just this have this reasonable position of like why should we even care about pronouns? This is why. And it's pointing out like you need to think back about your position, and if you're not willing to understand that this isn't about you all the time, like maybe we can go somewhere. But if you're just going to keep going back to why you specifically need to be affected by this, then I don't know if this is a fruitful conversation.
I'm not referring to myself specifically. I'm just I understand your position, and I know there are a lot of fucked up people out there and assholes that don't
But not
understand it.
not all of them are intentionally being assholes. Like there's
No,
sometimes that
exactly, and I'm not trying to
our society is
intentionally
built
be an asshole.
right, but this is a way to make it better for people, like even for people who aren't intentionally being assholes. Like I don't want to misgender people. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to be disrespectful. And so adding this system on makes it easier for me to go out and respect people. And so refusing to go along with that is kind of you saying that you're fine just being an asshole to people, whether or not you mean to. Like if you had the choice, Jeff, of having an option where you could treat people the best way possible and that they would feel respected and loved, and the other option is you're gonna disrespect a lot of people, which one would you want to take if it was an easy thing to do?
Well, of course you want to give people respect.
Right. And
That's
it's
obvious.
really not that
And
hard.
I
It's
understand
really
it's
not
not
that
obvious
hard.
to a lot of other people.
Right. It's really not that hard to do this. So if you really care about respecting people, there's your answer. You say, hey, this isn't about me. This is about protecting people who need this kind of thing to be respected. And that's what your perspective should be on this.
Well, now you have just said the sentence that clarifies it for me. People who need it. And I appreciate that.
But we all and the thing is, so with that, yeah, there are people who specifically need it. But the way to help society grow to understand that people need that is for people who don't need that specific protection to also use it, to normalize that. So for you, it might not be a super meaningful thing, but if you use it, then the people around you will recognize that you're willing to learn, and you're willing to work with them, and you're willing to make some changes. So like it's less so from your side, it's less so to make you feel comfortable and more so you can make other people feel welcomed in your presence. And I think that'll open up so many more relationships for you going forward.
Yeah, and a culture shift
I
to try to like make people
okay.
comfortable in society for sure.
Yeah, and now it's been explained to me in a way that I understand it. I'm not anti pronouns. I just wanted somebody to explain it to me so I could understand why.
Yeah,
And
it can
you
be kind
did
of
in
hard
that
to
one
tell.
sentence.
Some people say like, "Oh, I'm just asking questions," and then it turns out that they're just being a troll and a jerk. So if we get a little spicy, it's not entirely your fault.
Yeah,
So I hope
yeah.
that that's
No,
clarified a
and
little bit.
also, you got an audience to please. I get it. I edited reality TV for 15 years. I get it.
Wow,
You
that sounds
gotta
like a
have some
nightmare.
fun. You gotta get people on the air.
Gosh,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
true.
if I was firm with you, but like again, it's some people need a little bit more of that to make the point. So I appreciate that that maybe I didn't need to go as hard with you, but thanks for understanding.
No, but you said the one sentence that
Yeah.
now made me understand because it's been such a confusing thing about why are we doing this? Why?
Mhm.
And nobody could ever explain it to me in one simple sentence. And you did.
Well, cool. Good
Awesome.
job, Ben.
Glad we could have this conversation, Jeff. I'm glad, and thank
Well,
you for
there's
thank you for
there's
engaging us
probably a lot
with
more
Ben here.
people out there like me too, where it's just like, oh, what? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair. That's why we do the show. Well, thanks for calling in, Jeff. If you
Yeah.
have any more
So
questions in the future, we will be here.
Yeah.
okay. I've actually never listened. I listened to the line. I listened to more about atheists and things like that because I'm an atheist. So,
Sure.
but this is the first
Yeah.
time I had
Join
seen
us
this,
here on
and I'm like,
Thursdays.
oh, I have a question about pronouns.
Cool.
Yeah. Join us in side chat. I'm sure you could learn a lot too from these other episodes. Definitely hang out around here more. And I appreciate having you.
All right, cool. You guys have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Jeff. Have a good
You
one.
too. Bye.
You too. Bye.
He kind of reminded me of my friend whose name also starts with a J. What is it with Gen Xers and their J names? Just in tone, not like in how out of touch he was, but just in like that whole like, yeah, it is such a Gen X thing to just be like, yeah, whatever, man. Like I'm not trying to be a jerk or whatever. Like I don't know. It's just that particular flavor of
Yeah.
cis man.
Yeah. All right.
I was
Any preference?
I was hoping he would
Yes,
get
God.
into his bit that he gave me in the call screener thing about how he was like, "Oh, this exposes my sexuality." And I was like, "Whoa, what?"
I
He's
thought
like, "Do
he
you
was gonna get
understand
into
that?"
that
And I was
too.
like, "No, I don't understand that at all."
He didn't feel necessary to get into it, I guess.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Any preference on this next one?
I mean 33-4 sounds like an interesting convo.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk to Stephanie, she, her from Arizona. Sounds like you want to talk about cis people who have gender dysphoria. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, wow. I'm actually surprised I actually got on.
Oh yeah.
So I was or I am a female assigned at birth. During my childhood, if someone called me a boy, I felt that was distressing. I'm like, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. And then around puberty, that kind of changed where, I don't know, I guess I felt like maybe people were staring at me and I didn't like the changes that were happening and all of that. And like, especially in high school, And I don't know. I didn't like being a girl anymore, but at the same time, like I guess I don't know. I don't I don't know. I guess I don't really have a desire to transitions, and so when I've looked on the internet, Google or whatever, it wasn't really ever clear to me if if you have gender dysphoria that makes you trans, or am I not trans? I guess that's my question.
I mean, it's a big indicator. Like it's the thing that is it's like a rock in your foot. Like dysphoria draws your attention to the problem. Um and it's like it's hard to get it to go away. I would say cis people do experience gender dysphoria, but it's typically like so if you as I'm just going to use you as an example, like if you as a person who grew up female, if you were like, "Oh, my boobs aren't very big and that's making me dysphoric," or if you were like, oh, my hair is falling out right now, and that's making me stressed because I like having long hair. Those are the typical things. Like, I'm very much on the side of like, yes, cis people experience dysphoria and they get gender affirming care all the time. Men getting hair plugs, liposuction surgery, that thing that women do where they get all the fat sucked out of their waist and they put it in their ass. Like, all of that is gender affirming care. And so that is kind of like how I describe cis dysphoria. If what you're experiencing is more like alienation from womanhood and femininity, uh, I would say that that is maybe an indication that there might be something going on where like you identify as non-binary or something. But like, and it's tricky too. And I have so much empathy for this. And I think Ben does too, because we both grew up in the same way where we were assigned female and you have to disentangle, like Ben was saying a few calls ago, disentangle that whole like, well, women get treated poorly. And so you don't like that feeling of becoming a woman and being sexualized and not being listened to and all that stuff. Like the transition from going from a girl into a woman is its own form of gender transition. Um, and so it can be kind of difficult to examine that within yourself and go, is it just that I don't like it when men look at me funny? Like, or is there like a deeper sense of alienation? And for me, I have a sense of alienation where I'm like, so I'm married to a cis man, and so typically when we hang out with another couple or several couples, I just end up hanging out with the girls because that's just how the shit goes down. And I'm like, yeah, we're in the group, and I can tell that they feel warmly toward me and familiar toward me in a way that I do not feel toward them because I know that I'm just like outside of this group and I just happen to be hanging out with them. And I love women and I appreciate women and they scare me. Um, but that doesn't mean that I'm like one of them. Like I respect women very much, but I also feel like everything that happens when people talk about women, they are not talking about me. If we're talking about abortion rights, I'm affected by abortion rights. But if you call it women's healthcare, I'm gonna feel a little bit like, oh wait, yeah, no, that has something to do with me, right? Yeah. Oh, I forgot for a second because I'm not a woman. Um, so that's kind of my prerogative. Ben, I don't have something.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Is my internet cutting out a little
Nope,
bit, or
that's
is
me.
it? It's you. Okay,
Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
gotcha. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing. I think like it's definitely something to kind of process because like cis people, for the most part, like there is some gender dysphoria that can happen within cis people, but usually it presents as like certain insecurities that prevent you from identifying as the gender you were assigned, and that's like what happens for most cis people with dysphoria. So it's something to think about. Am I trans? Like is there something here that is an indicator to I mean, regardless, you can explore your gender identity at any point and you could still end up at arriving at being a cis woman, and that's totally fine. I think everybody should explore their gender identity because like there's really no harm coming from that. You're only like learning more about yourself, and I would say maybe just don't rush into permanent things too quickly before you've really thought them through. But little things like changing your hairstyle, changing a name that you want to go by, changing pronouns, changing like how you express yourself, all that stuff, like everybody should experiment with that at some point. Um, so it's possible maybe you're not cis, it's also possible that you are. And Lux is exactly right. Like teasing through the societal things of like, do I just hate being treated like a woman? Also thinking about like, is there any anatomical like dysphoria? Because that can point you in one direction or another. So it sounds like you have a lot to think about. And I'm curious kind of where your exploration is going to take you with that. Because it's a fun journey. Like, and I think there's a lot of fear that can be involved in it. And for sure, especially right now, a lot of people are kind of worried like when they first take that step. But like it's fun learning all that about yourself. And I think it helps you kind of respect other people better too, because I always hated myself when I thought I had to be a woman. And then now I'm so much better at supporting my friends because I'm like, you know what? I can support my friends who are women and I don't have to be one. I can just be happy for them. Like, and it's so nice.
Hmm.
So I hope you at least get some positivity out of this self-discovery that you're on.
Yeah, because I guess the other part of it that I sort of forgot to mention is that it's not, because it sounds to me like when I've heard other trans people's experiences that it's a very kind of strong, long-lasting feeling. But for me, it's not. I don't have dysphoria all the time. There's certain things that will happen or whatever, and those I'll kind of it'll bother me. But then other times I don't feel that way.
And
I think
that's
the
So kind
common
of
critical
tough to
thing
too.
to
think
look
of.
at I think the critical thing to look at there is like, are you finding yourself swinging back and forth between I don't like this part of my body and then I do like this part of my body? Or are you switching back and forth between I don't like this part of my body or whatever it is that we're talking about? And then the other days you feel neutral or are ignoring the thing that was bothering you 2 days ago? Like, because that's the thing. I've had
Yep.
some people be like, well, I don't know if I want top surgery because once every 3 years I like to wear a dress. It's like, okay, well, how do you feel like 900 other days of the year? You can stuff a bra. Like, just like you're fine that one day. But if you're going to be happier every single day of your life, if the days where you're like, it's not that bad, it's really just like a little bit of mild dissociation that you're experiencing. So I would just say examine that feeling and see like, okay, yeah, are you switching back and forth between like, I really love this and I really hate this? Or are you just like able to ignore it on the days where it's not so bad? My dysphoria isn't so bad most of the time. And then I have weird dreams about having a dick that doesn't work and I wake up all freaked out. Like, it's great.
Yeah, and like
Um,
I think
no, go ahead. Sorry.
I think well I just wanted to add in this piece too that I think sure there are some people who have constant dysphoria. I think other people have more variable dysphoria, and particularly certain triggers that make their dysphoria worse. Like in my case, menstruation was a huge trigger for dysphoria. Not only uh, like the obvious kind of dealing with that problem, of course, like the hormonal fluctuations, like you get an increase of hormones in that time period, and it's very
Mm.
uncomfortable. And so certain things might come up to where it may trigger the dysphoria more, or like certain societal interactions might trigger that, or certain thoughts in your head might trigger it, or certain environmental triggers might trigger it. And that's so it doesn't have to be like completely all the time constant dysphoria. It can be variable, and if you notice that, and that's something that you can kind of look at too, almost like a symptom diary, like keeping track of when do you feel most dysphoric? Like what are the things that you're dysphoric about? Like how do you feel during that? Do you know any consistencies of things that happened around that time that might be a pattern? And maybe you could recognize this as a trigger for you. That might be helpful because you might keep a log like that and then look back at it and say, oh, every time I use the shower, I'm dysphoric, or like every time I'm wearing this article of clothing, I'm dysphoric, and it might point you in a direction.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I probably wasn't entirely clear earlier, but it's not necessarily that I feel I that I don't match my sex assigned at birth. Like I'll give you an example because this happened last night actually. So I was at the gym, and they have this machine that's like an assisted pull-up machine. And so, when you're out on the floor, most of the people there are men and, kind of big, strong, muscly men lifting weights. And so I'm sitting here, trying to do these pull-ups. And it's like, man, it'd be nice if I was a man. This stuff would be so much easier. Um, and so, or like sometimes I'll see like guys' clothes at the store. This didn't happen yesterday. It's just another example. But I'll see guys' clothes at the store. Like when I'm out shopping, I was like, wow, those clothes are super cute. I wish I could wear stuff like that. But then again, sometimes I'll wear kind of pretty stuff and feel like, oh, I kind of feel okay being a woman wearing this kind of, pretty sundress or whatever. And so the other thing is that I didn't mention, the older I get, the less I feel dysphoric, I guess. High school, it was really bad. It was like all the time. But
I
back
mean, same.
then, the whole thing, like, trans wasn't really in kind of the cultural zeitgeist. Like, it wasn't something that was talked about. So I don't know if if it was, maybe things might have been different, but I don't know.
So I
That
guess
help?
another thing that you could do is, okay, I'm gonna make a recommendation. There's this woman who pops up on my timeline on Facebook all the time. Her account is called Burritos and ADHD. And she is a cis woman. She's straight. She's voluntarily celibate. She's a weightlifter with some kind of chronic illness. I don't know what it is. But she is like a buff woman. She's very, very like a, weightlifter. She's not like shredded though. So, but like, listen, if your goal is to be muscle mommy, like that is a genre that is very, very in demand right now. So so in the course of a gender exploration, you can also just explore like what are some different ways to inhabit womanhood, and maybe you have not found the one that could work for you. Like, and so that was part of my exploration was like, yeah, I could be like a masculine woman or like a feminine woman, or I could be like a masculine man or a feminine man. And like I went through this process and then realized like, oh, actually I'm non-binary. I want to be able to pick and choose whatever. But there definitely are women who are buff, who wear baggy clothes. And then also Burritos and ADHD has this past week or so been posting like outfit videos. I think she went to some event. So she has got these like goth outfits. And it's literally just one of those like putting on the outfit one piece at a time videos. So you can absolutely encompass both of these things at the same time. Like I'm pretty and femme today. Lots of days it's basketball shorts, and I'm about to start hiking, so I've got a whole like wardrobe of bullshit that I need to get to go hiking. Um, so you find someone you really love and admire, and then explore like, what if that's the kind of person that I want to be?
Okay, yeah. I mean, because when the call screener thing, basically, I put she, her, because that's what I look like and that's what I present as. But if people use other pronouns, it doesn't really bother me. So this is like a short side story, but I am a martial artist, and I've been going to a lot of tournaments this year. And as a high rank, I'm usually one of the people that judges other competitors, like kids and things like that. And so some of the kids, they used to say this thing where they're like, may I begin, sir? But then I guess they started being told, to say sir or ma'am,
Hmm.
both, because not everybody on their panel is going to be male. There are a lot of men in martial arts, but I've noticed the kids started doing that more recently. And it's like, I don't actually care if you call me a sir. It's not particularly, I don't really feel either way about it. But yeah, I guess the main reason I was calling is because, since this dysphoria kind of comes back every once in a while, it I wasn't really sure because based on my Google searches, you know, do I count as being, is that enough to be trans? Or if you don't transition, are you not really considered trans, I guess?
People are rude about it sometimes. I'm personally of the opinion that if you identify as anything other than the gender you were assigned at birth, then that is trans. I think that the main reason that people don't agree with that is more of like a sense of stolen valor. Like if a non-transitioning person says that they're trans, like they might feel like, oh, I'm taking something away from a binary trans person who really needs it. But I honestly just kind of think that that's bullshit. So
Right.
I
It's
think
like you're not
if you're not
like
comfortable with being called trans, then whatever, like that's your business. But you're a part of the club as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, Ben.
yeah, and there's not a limited amount of transness to go around. Like you don't have to compete for
It's
your
not
seat at the
pie.
trans table. Like yeah, it's not taking anything away from anybody else. Like there's more than enough transness to go around. So
Yeah.
yeah,
If you wanna
it's
identify
all
as
just silly.
non-binary and not trans, that's an option. Non-binary but not trans,
Yeah.
or if you do want to transition, then maybe that'll help you feel more validated as a trans person. I know it did for me. Um, but yeah, I would say this is a great time to just explore, to like look at different types of queer people to see like if you feel I told a caller this earlier, if you're like finding a sense of resonance with other people, like I do feel a sense of resonance with other trans masculine people, even though I'm way too femme for most trans masculine people to take me very seriously as a trans person. So yeah, just find whoever you feel like you fit in with the best. Maybe it's men, maybe it's a particular kind of buff woman. Maybe you're in the non-binary club, but yeah, it's the perfect time to find out.
Yeah. So choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Go forth.
Okay. And then you said that one person on Facebook was burritos and ADHD. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I don't know if she's on other platforms. She might be on TikTok or something. I saw her
Oh,
stuff
okay.
for like
All right.
3 weeks before I even clocked the name of the I was like, "Look at everybody talking. Oh, this great lady. Oh, have you seen her? Oh, I can't remember her name, so I can't actually find out if anybody else has seen her."
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, maybe I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, take a look.
Okay. I think that kind of covered and gave me some things to think about. It was just that when you look up on Google, people are like, "Well, if you have gender dysphoria, like you can't be cis or whatever." And
Mhm.
it was hard to get like a clear answer on like what counts, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, somebody on the chat says that on YouTube, the person I'm talking about, her channel is Laura Barito, Barito. If you want to look her up, that's her name actually. So you should be able to find her on at least one platform.
Please spell that again for me. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Barito. So her last name obviously was the inspiration for the burrito in the burritos and
Oh,
ADHD. Yep. Well, cool, Stephanie. If you want to call back again in a few weeks, we will be here. If you find any new answers about yourself, we would be happy to get an update.
yeah. You guys, I mean, I haven't really been watching for a while, but you guys really kind of streamlined the calling thing because I actually tried calling about this maybe 2 years ago, and all I
Oh,
got was a busy signal, and
Oh yeah.
then I
it
I
may have been
never
that the
tried
lines were
again.
full. We only have 8
um,
slots, so if there's 8 people waiting, then everybody else gets a busy signal. So maybe you caught us on a really busy day, but I'm glad you were able to call in.
yeah, yeah. I really appreciate you guys taking my call.
Hell yeah. Well,
Yeah.
good luck out there,
Thanks for
Stephanie.
calling in.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Hey.
Bye.
And I think the other part of it too is since we've been going longer to like flow right into the other show, like we
Mhm.
have people able to cycle through a lot more because the which like that's a tip for people. If you ever get a busy signal, like wait for a call to end and then try calling in because
Mhm.
then a line might be open. I mean the lines are closed now, but for
Close
future
now.
weeks,
Yeah.
if it's busy, try that and you'd have probably a higher chance of getting through.
Yes. Oh,
So
I guess we might have also only been taking 5 callers before, but now we take like we have up to 8 that we can have on the line at a time. So maybe
mm.
it was harder to get in before.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
It's almost time for
Um,
super chats. We have 2 more calls,
it
but
is
get your
two more
$5 or more
callers.
super chats.
Get them in. All right. I'll just go in order for these last two, if
Sure.
that's okay. All right. Let's talk to Sorsha. She, her. I'm upset about the Irish name. She,
Hello.
her from Michigan. Uh,
Yeah.
sounds like you want to talk more about trans healthcare. What's going on?
Yeah, really quick, my phone's at like 2%, so if I abracavanish mid-conversation, you'll know why I disappeared.
Okay.
I was just like
Yeah, no problem.
wondering what exactly this entails because I just turned 18 not that long ago, and I was waiting to start HRT because my family is not at all supportive. So, and then like as soon as I turn 18, this shit happens. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be any way I'll still be able to get it, or what's going on.
Okay,
I think you'll probably
so
be okay in Michigan.
yeah, Michigan's one of the better states. It's not perfect, but it is actually is one of the states that I've applied to residency programs for. So I have enough hope, at
Okay.
least at the local level, that they'll be able to fight some stuff. My suggestion would be to try to at least get into see a provider like relatively soon, because I think it'll
Okay.
be easier to maintain care that's already established than it will be like the first thing that's going to be difficult is to be establishing new care. It's a lot easier like if things start to get cut off, it'll be easier for people who have already been started on something or have already been on the track to getting a prescription to kind of get that going. So at least try to get a
Yeah, makes sense.
consult with somebody in because you can take your time to think about how much you want to go through with that and stuff and answer like ask all your questions and stuff, but try to get in. And unfortunately kind of in this situation you'll have to navigate the whole finance thing as I mentioned on a previous
Yeah.
call. Like there's kind of the two routes you can go with their through insurance and just go the typical like in-person way, or you can go like a more concierge way, which the more premium prices are going to be more guaranteed that you'll be able to access that. However, it's not very affordable. So,
Yeah.
but it would be quick. It would be a very quick way to get started on something. Um, but if you're going the in-person route, like it might take longer for you to get through to having an appointment. So definitely,
All
I'd
right.
recommend if you haven't already started searching for providers, get working on that and get an appointment.
Yeah, on my last appointment, my therapist recommended a primary care physician that's like around where I live.
Awesome.
Yeah, run with that for sure.
Great. Yeah.
And like the prescription should only be like $10 a month. So if you get on it, then you'll be able
Yeah.
to stay on it. And if you have a chill doctor, they might prescribe you like slightly more than what you actually need so that you have carryover in case you can't fill your prescription next month.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, a
would
lot
be
of them are
ideal.
doing 90-day prescriptions. Yeah.
And you can always go
Any
the
other
Planned Parenthood
specific
route.
questions? Yes,
Yeah,
Planned Parenthood
I
is
was
great.
thinking about that. I was considering moving to a place where there's one much closer.
Yeah. They do an informed consent model and sliding scale care, so good option.
It's so fucking great because it turns out that there was one in my city, but the Trump administration cut their funding and they had to close it. So now the closest one's 129 miles away.
Yeah, that happened right before I moved to a city in Kansas, but it was one of those bullshit like, "Oh, it must have, hallways at least wide enough for 2 gurneys to pass by each other," and of course, fucking Planned Parenthoods are all in these little dinky commercial buildings, so they just had to close the Planned Parenthood because of bullshit like that.
I see.
Yeah. Well, do you have any follow-ups before your phone dies?
Oh yeah, it's just like so. Pretty much, like there's no need for me to be as scared as I was.
I mean, be aware, and so plan for things, like plan in case there's a shortage or something like that, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to be worried about the worst case scenario.
All right, because I mean, yeah, I was not very happy hearing that, just because I just turned 18 and I was gonna, you know.
Yeah. You should be solid. As long as you can get like a job and if you're going to transition at 18, you're going to be able to assimilate pretty easily compared to people who transition older. So, as long as you can keep a job and you have money, you should pretty much always be able to afford. And for estrogen, you can just buy it online. Like it's a gray area legally, but you literally can just buy it online. So no matter what, you will pretty much always have access.
Yeah, because
All
it's
right,
not
well, thank you.
scheduled in the same way that testosterone is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that that's a lot more regulated because people use it as a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, testosterone
Yeah,
is for sure.
exactly. Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, no, that was about it. Thank you for taking my call. I hope you two have a good day, and the call screening and producer and everyone.
Yes, good luck, Saoirse. If you want to call back later and get advice about your parents, we do that too. So
All right. Yeah, I may call in again next week. But
sure.
yeah, thank you for your
Yeah,
time.
feel free.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry about your phone
Bye.
battery. I Oh, the
Sorry
phone
about
battery.
it. I
All
I
right.
guess my phone did die
Yeah.
recently. I was about to say I never get like that low,
Oh yeah,
but I'm home all
I'm
day,
just
so
neurotic as hell, so I charge it very frequently. I'm like, I do not let it get below 50%, but that is a me thing.
yeah.
Uh, last
It's like there's two different people,
caller.
those who refill the gas when it's
Yeah.
at 50% and those who let it run on fumes.
Yep. We know which one I am. Uh, last caller. Let's talk to Trinket She/Her from Ohio. This one's a bit more serious. How to keep fighting through the shit. Trinket, how can we help you?
Hi Ben, hi Lux.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if y'all have any advice for how to keep going. I mean, I'm very conscious of my mental health. I practice self-care. I do news detoxes, social media detoxes, but I'm just worn down to a freaking nub right now.
You have any friends that you talk to in person?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's an important one, so
Yeah, this is a hard thing to navigate. I think we're all in this boat right now because it's that delicate balance of number one, showing up to the fight because we sure as hell need that right now. Also maintaining our self-care and not burning out. And then also the balance of being informed of what's going on, but not being completely like destroyed emotionally every time something happens, which seems to be every day at this point. So it's like I get it's so hard to be informed and maintain your sanity. It seems almost impossible right now. So I definitely think like leaning on your community around you, like if you have one, if not, trying to find a community that you can surround yourself with. Therapy is great for this kind of thing. Um,
touch
and it
grass.
yeah, touch grass.
It
Like I
genuinely makes
think
a difference.
yeah, I think limiting. I know you said you've done like news detoxes and stuff. I think kind of limiting like what we allow our exposure to the chaos. I think that's important. Like I think even setting time aside, like okay, this is a time when I can open my email like once per day, or like I can go to the news like once per day, and then I'm gonna shut it off and I'm gonna go do some other things. Like I've definitely been getting off the internet more, and it's helped so much. And I know like there's a lot of urge to just keep going back in, but um it can drain you really, really fast. And we need everyone in the fight for the long term. And I promise you all, and this is not just at you, this is for the audience too. Like, we need you all for the long haul. And in that, if you need to take breaks here and there, and even if you need to take long breaks, a break is better than you being out of the fight long term. So keep that in mind. Like, put on your oxygen mask before you help the person next to you. Like, with the rest of us will survive. If you're able to keep getting out there in the fight, awesome. Keep going. We need help. But like take the breaks when you need to, please.
Well,
So
I do.
yeah.
I have by and large cut back my news consumption so heavily this past year and everything, but I am just so worn. Like,
Hmm.
I use public transit. I'm pretty clocky, and I deal with this crap every day whether I want to or not. I've been SA'd in public twice already this year, not to mention all the threats.
And I do want to say, like, there is some amount of control that we have over our internal states of being, but also we are living creatures who are reacting to an environment. So at a certain point, you know, you are probably doing a lot of things to keep yourself sane, right? Like, and I could say, you know, well, make sure you're doing those things mindfully. Like, make sure you are, you know, you're practicing mindfulness and all this while you're doing that. And like, you know, you don't want to just check out and watch TV when, you know, because then you're not processing any of your stress or whatever. If you have a therapist, whatever, like I can tell you, oh, here's some things that you could do that might make the skills that you're using already more effective. But at a certain point, we do just have to acknowledge that, like, it's not our fault that everything's fucked up and that we are going to have days where we, no matter how many effective skills we use, we're still going to end up needing to, um, take breaks and everything. And like you're a human being, and honestly, if you need to check out for an entire year, sometimes people need to do that, and then they come back and they're rejuvenated. You know, focusing on those interpersonal relationships, committing yourself to community, like. So that's another thing where when I'm saying like touch grass, I do think like exercise is important and I think being outside is important, but also like maybe it will help to get out of your own situation to like help other people. Like I volunteered recently. There's a program locally where you can go pick fruit that would otherwise, or a harvest in general that would otherwise go just like they would just go bad because they already had the primary harvest and there's like a secondary one. And then you take the food and you donate it to families in need in your community. Like just find something like that where you're getting out of your head, you're getting off the phone, and you're committing some of your time and energy to something else. And like if your friend needs help moving, or if your friend just had a breakup and they need your support, like being there for other people actually helps your own stuff better than you would think. Um, but then, yeah, just acknowledge that there are going to be days where you're like, I just need to stay in bed today and do absolutely nothing. And that's okay. We're going to be available more than other days, and we're going to be present more than other days, and we're going to feel stronger on some days than we do on other days. And that's to be expected. They're trying to run us down on a marathon. So,
Yeah, they sure are, aren't they?
yep.
Yep.
I really like that advice about the volunteering. My therapist suggested not too long ago that I could volunteer at local animal shelters, so maybe I'll try that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or at a
Go
youth
play with
center
some
for queer people or
animals.
something. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Puppies. Yeah.
Puppies are great. Puppies will give you that dopamine boost too. Oh man, that'd be great.
hmm
I'm definitely an animal lover autist. So
Yes. Oh, anything else we can help with? I know we don't have a whole lot of hope here.
I could go on for a couple hours, but y'all need to get the super chats. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Trinket.
yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you so
call.
much for talking
I
to
hope,
me. Yeah,
and
and
I
hey,
hope
you know what? If
everything
nothing else,
goes
today
better.
I got to talk to all three of my favorite hosts. So
That's true.
Hey.
That's true. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk to you
All
later.
right. Take care, Trinket.
all right.
Bye. All right. We are done. We have super
Yeah, we
chats.
did it. Super chats. And then we're doing Calling It
Super chat
Now.
time.
I'm going to be on with Jimmy on
Yes.
Calling It Now. If you just stick around, I think that it will automatically kick you guys over into the new stream when this one ends. So just hang out when we finish the super chats.
Yeah, and for you people that are still hiding out in side chat, go call into that show if you really want to have a debate. It'll be a great time. Do you want to go first?
Yes. Thank you for the $5 from Zerith Moonpaw says, did you know DC Comics has a gender-neutral insult, Bastiche, created by Lobo or Iobo? I use it now, TBH. It's clean enough for Cartoon Network. # Team Lux. True. That's fun.
That's awesome. $10 from Marcus B. Urameshi. I was watching Dr. K and he mentioned a link between autism and trans people. Is this why instantly most trans people were MTF. Autism affects men more. Do FTM have a link to autism? Autism is present in any type of human that has ever existed because it's not something gendered. It's just the criteria that were used to diagnose autism were skewed to where some of those traits were more seen in people assigned male. But that's just a fault in the diagnostic criteria and how we looked at neurodivergence. So we've updated how we view neurodivergence as a whole. And so that kind of explains some of that. But if you have more thoughts on this is a great one to call when I'm on. And actually, I think at the end of the month, Godless Engineer and I are doing a Cus I Wanna about, I think we're going to focus in on the Tylenol thing. So if you want to call about that, that'd be a great one.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for $5 from Mira G, who says, if we had the power to shut down the government, we wouldn't have hundreds of anti-trans laws on the books. Hashtag team Dr. Beetlejuice. That's fucking true. I had the power to shut down that
Getting the
government.
vote,
Damn.
finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yep,
that's all
I
Oh,
our
yeah, you're
forgot
not
about getting that
counting
thing
votes?
up.
Man, that's just yet another thing I'm just
Yeah.
imagining on the production end now that I understand. You do so many more things, Arden. And is this all you? You just decided independently to add more shit to your plate? Because we don't do any of this stuff on any of the other shows.
No, I know. So I did kind of, I mean, so there's shortcut keys that can make the scores easier, but it requires like a like coding kind of thing you have to put in. That's annoying. That I've
Okay.
forgotten what it is. But initially Katie and I just kind of did this offhandedly and it started working. And so I just kind of have formalized it more. But yes, TACIS is way more difficult on production than any of the other shows.
We've got the polls, so we have at least 2 extra like scenes to transition between. Like, yeah.
Yep.
Whatever.
10 pounds from Barbara Barrett. No context for you, just money. Well, thank you so much for your generous donation.
Thank you for the 30 shekels, I believe, from Poetical Irony, who says, here to shout out today's first community-led event by me, a poetry jam. I'm going to host another next week, same time, 90 minutes before stream in the Lines Discord voice chat, hashtag Team Void Kitty. He just left my office. I picked him up earlier, so I'm not going to go get him right now, but that's cool. Just like a community member organizing events in our Discord. That's cool. Join Patreon to get access to the Discord.
Hell yeah. $5 from Jack. Oh, without text. Thank you so much for your $5, Jack.
Thank you for the $4.99 from Jamnico6, who says trans health versus gender affirming care. In my opinion, the argument that cis people also use gender affirming care, i.e. breast enhancement, helps fight bans on care. Hashtag Team Lux. Does it though? Does it affect the bans at fucking all? See, this is what I mean. Is like, does it actually make a difference what we say? I have no clue.
That'll be a good poll question. I'm excited.
Yeah,
for
we'll
that.
talk about it in depth later.
From Jamnik, this is the second one. Trans healthcare is more likely to lack support from those uninformed on trans issues. Hashtag trans rights equals human rights. And hashtag trans care equals healthcare. Hashtag Team Void Cat.
That's twice now. I'll read the next one and then I gotta go get the cat. $5 from
People are
Mira
just mad
G
at me
says,
because I keep leaving the dog outside.
oh no, yeah. You're like, the puppy is too much energy. The cat, at least, he's
a
like, I'm
teenager
mostly going to
now.
be stationary. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an adolescent dog now, and it is ruining me.
Rambunctious, I imagine. How big is the breed supposed to get total?
Well, he's a mix between like a border collie and a husky, so he's supposed to be big.
Okay.
We'll see how big. He's like 7 months now, and he is.
Yeah.
I haven't weighed him in a while. He's probably like 30 pounds, but
I feel like
he just
border collies can be
screams
pretty small
all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He
Love that.
screams.
So does
Yeah.
my cat. Honestly, he's like,
That's why he's outside.
and I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
$5 from Mira G. Thank you. Says, my best friend is a cis woman who uses he, him pronouns because he likes the sound. I trust his self-ID as cisgender, and if he ever says different, I'll agree. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben. That's interesting. It's just a form of gender expression. Like in the same way that there are cis women who like to cut their hair short and have dirt under their nails. Like it's just another aspect of that. All right, you read this one. I'm going to go get the cat.
$9.99 from 0K. I felt more gender euphoria than dysphoria, so I explored along the spectrum rather than an immediate jump to where I am now as a trans woman. This is the happiest I felt in my own skin. Hashtag Team Lux. Yeah, we love that. We just want everyone to be happy. I can read the next one too while the kitty's coming.
Oh no,
Or Lex
come
is
on.
back.
Can you stop
I'll
with the
read
claws
this one. 5
all
pounds
over
from
the
Mystic Minds
NPCs?
Analysis Tavern. But remember, violence is never the answer, even as fascists strip people of human rights and use military violence to enforce oppression. Yep.
True. Thank you for another 10 from Zurith Moonpaw, who says, proudly non-binary, I lean femme mostly. I am wondering if my asexuality is due to a lack of feminine genitals. Anyhoozle, hashtag Team Ben, hashtag give the good boy a treat, please. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that happen before where like someone's like, I'm asexual, but if I had bottom surgery, and it's like, okay, so what you are is dysphoric.
Yeah, that's something that I've had to wrestle with a lot lately, and I'm really just ace.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah. I'm just having sexual
Yeah.
dysfunction in my 30s because of dysphoria, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I also have that, but it's more useful to me as an individual person, and I just don't want the partner shit, at least for the
Fair.
most part. But that's for another time. $5 from Space Barbarian. There's a naked bike ride planned in Portland to protest the
I saw.
BS. Awesome. All about
Yeah,
that.
it's an annual event that we have, the Naked Bike Ride in Portland. So they're like calling it like an emergency world naked bike ride or whatever. There's like an acronym that they use,
Yeah.
which I
My
think is just
sibling has
perfect.
done it a couple of times.
Yeah, isn't that just the perfect way to protest? Is like, what are you gonna do with an like? I've heard people say that before, like comedians joking, like if somebody's about to fight you in a bar, just take off all your clothes and like they won't know what to do. Cops don't want to tackle a naked dude.
Yeah, they don't.
Thank you for 5 units from the Fuzzy Logic, who says, for the record, I am not fuzzy from Israel. Hashtag Team Lux. I was wondering. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. All right. £5 from Jack. Hashtag Team Ben. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
We need Lux keeps losing to me though. I think people just likes to hear it talk, but
That's true.
we'll see what happens today.
$5 from Sprashy, who says, what is one piece of advice you wish your parents had received and listened to when you were a child? There's too many
Anything
things
about
wrong with those
trans
people.
rights?
Don't have a kid when you're
Yeah.
fucking 15 years old. Maybe would have been one of them. I don't know.
$20 from Fiona. Go, Vicky, go. You got this. I started late too. 44. Hashtag Team Lux.
We had lots of babies who needed advice today. It's so interesting that it feels like this is another great egg crackening. Like 2020, there was a great egg crackening because of like everybody being inside all the time. And it feels like there's another one happening right now, which is kind of interesting. Thank you for the $4.99 from 0K, who says, it's taken hard work and I have more to do, especially getting a skincare routine and vocal training, but every step has been worth it. Your mileage may vary. Hashtag Team Lux. It's these testimonials that we're here for. Trans your
Yes.
gender.
Yes. $5 from Legally Mod. The egg prime directive is bullshit, but there are also eggs like Jimmy who absolutely refuse to hatch. I don't know if I want to accuse Jimmy of being an egg.
I agree that the egg prime directive, I think that we should soften on it and maybe to be like, honey, I think maybe you could maybe look into this a little bit more. For
Yeah.
girlies like the one earlier who was like, I've wanted to be a woman for 20 years and I only just fucking connected
Yeah.
that means that I'm trans. Somebody could have saved that 10 years ago. Like somebody could have fixed that problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, okay, Jimmy likes having a beard and a penis too much to be anything
Yeah.
but a cis man. Like we know enough about him. I think it's conclusive at this point.
Yeah. $4.99 from Michelle. I live in Indiana. My egg cracked this year, and I'm 7 months on HRT. Next Monday, I go to court to update my markers and name. Wish me luck. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Wishing you luck on that.
Congratulations.
Hope it goes smoothly.
Yeah. 30 shekels from Poetical Irony says, A fave TACIS trope is praising a host, i.e. Ben, but then voting reversed. I'm in the process of trying to build a network of friends I can see myself moving my mortgage for. Hearts, communal living a la hashtag Team Lux. Awesome. Yeah. I one of my friends, he actually lives in a camper. Like that's just the choice that he's made. He sold his house not too long ago and is living in his camper. And he'd also just recently lost his job. And he was like, we were talking last night and he was like, "So I'm thinking about doing something drastic." And I was like, "Is it move to Oregon?" And he was like, "No, I was going to cut my hair, but here's all these things that I'm thinking about moving to Oregon about." So I'm successfully converting at least one person.
Yes. uh 220 units from Alira 1982. It's always darkest right before dawn. It will take a while, maybe, but things will change. Liberties we enjoy today come from suffering of the old. Got to keep the hope alive and fight. Lots of love. From Turkey. Uh, that's not a hashtag, though, so I don't know if it
I
counts.
think it
That is an
doesn't
at
count.
sign.
Yeah,
Doesn't count.
unfortunately.
We
Part
got
of
the
me wants
rules.
to give it to them because it's
The
right next
rules.
to them, but we've dismissed so many votes because there was no hashtag. So
Yeah.
That's the
I
rules.
feel like it's only fair. I think it's only fair to go with the rules.
Arden, you should look at the calling it now chat because I don't know if I have an answer to that question.
Okay.
Another 30 shekels from Poetical Irony who says, "I am scared, but my spouse doesn't want to leave. But I think I have to find peace in going down with the ship and having a raft ready and waiting. Hashtag Team Lux." Yeah, I just it's that tricky decision. It cannot be correct for any person. Like I can't tell you what to do. Maybe I'm making the wrong choice to stay here, or maybe moving somewhere else would be even more fucked up. Like it's a you cannot know the
Yeah.
possible outcome. All of life is irreversible. You just have to kind of go with it.
Yep.
And now I'm having Arden answer questions.
$10 from Heather Rochi. Hi Jeff. Also Gene with a dislike for labels. This is not about making people assume labels they're going to think about anyway. Best approach for respect. Yep.
Yep. What a weird thing though to be like, I'm from the punk movement and I don't like you had very clear in
But the
group and
punk
out
movement
groups.
is progressive. Like
It
the
is,
punk
yeah.
movement like started to be progressive. Like that's the whole point of the punk movement. Like okay.
Maybe not American punk, I guess. Maybe it was like a different type of
Yeah.
subculture here where it sucked ass or something.
I don't know.
No clue. Another 15 shekels from Poetical Irony. Thank you so much for being generous today. It says, "Oh, crucified. Jeff, I'm not listening to half of what you're saying. Hashtag Team Punk Rock." Who's hashtag Team Punk Rock? I've sometimes said that its pronouns are like Team Punk Rock, but I don't know if I can claim that point just because I've said that one time.
Yeah, you can keep it. I'm not super. I mean, I like punk rock, but it's not like my favorite. So
It's definitely not like a musical preference. It's a cultural preference,
the culture
because
preference.
punk is kind of
Yeah.
similar. It's like a subgenre of goth or like a related subgenre to
I'll
goth.
give
So,
it because they've been donating for Team Lux all
oh,
day.
okay.
So
No
I
context.
think it's for you.
That would
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. $5 from Melatonin Ale. I am a cis woman and my name is gendered, Alejandra, and I've been misgendered in an email because the writer didn't know me. Hashtag Team Lux. Yeah, like anytime someone says that they haven't ever misgendered somebody or been misgendered, I call bullshit because like everybody has done that at least once.
I also feel like Alejandra is like, have you also never heard a Spanish name before?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Right.
crazy. Thank you for $5 from Space Barbarian who says, "Jeff, buddy, I and we are pronouns. Same with you and me. Hashtag Team Ben." I know. And I know that this is something that Joven gets stuck on with his callers, where it's like, y'all keep saying pronouns, but what you mean is gendered pronouns. Or they say pronouns and what they mean is trans people as a monolith. And they're just using this as shorthand.
$4.99 from Taylor Lee. Jeff not going to use pronouns immediately uses me. Yeah, it's the
True.
same thing. Like people.
Thank you for $10 from Fiona, who says, "Jeff really wants to be a victim." Hashtag Team the Line. Nice. Yeah. I don't know. He definitely came across more boomer than he actually was. I'm okay with it
Yeah.
ultimately.
$4.99 from June Bramley here for Dr. Ben's pronoun rant. Hell yeah. Getting on the board more now.
Mhm.
I do think Lux deserves a win though. Like once. Lux deserves like a win. I'm just gonna say, but I won't be mad at the votes. Like I will take the votes.
It is funny, yeah. People are very punitive
Yeah.
towards me. It's rude.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 15 shekels again from Poetical Irony. Says Jeff really do be writing "Hello, my name is No" on his name tag and finding it annoying that people keep asking for his name. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben.
Yeah, for real though.
Yeah.
$5 from Joshua Everett. Just because I owe it a vote for the past few weeks and appreciation for the producer work. Hashtag team Lux. I cannot speak today.
True. Thank you for 5 Australian from Charlotte, who says Jeff's the trans adult video watcher that feels guilt after and blames trans people for his actions after hashtag RPS. Rock, paper, scissors. I don't
Oh,
think so. I think more kindly of Jeff. Y'all got real spicy real fast. Y'all got to pump the brakes on that because people do watch the chat while they're
yeah.
supposed to be talking to us. You got to pump the brakes. Okay, we need to give the chatters the same lecture, not really lecture, but the same reminder that we were given at our all hands meeting a month or two ago, where it's like, we cannot get super spicy at people right off the bat. We have to let them have their first ever call. We have to let them get it all out there and treat them nicely. So be nice in the chat, you sons of bitches.
We have to do the rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, we do. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Rock, paper,
Rock.
scissors, shoot. You beat me.
Hey, it's a rock. It's a rock. Catching up.
Yeah.
$10 from Perfectly Flawed. If we make it normal to just give pronouns to anyone who needs their pronouns to be given because they don't conform, won't have a harder time because doing it is commonplace already. Exactly.
Yeah,
Don't
like,
be an
has
asshole.
Jeff never heard of, like, using partner to normalize the term partner even if you're straight? Like, anyway. Thank you for 15 shekels from Poetical Irony, who says, I actually wasn't given Tylenol as a kid. I grew up with homeopathy, which, if I'm being honest, might have made me gay. Hashtag Team Dr. Ben. God, I'm glad nothing crazy happened to you as a child because the homeopathy thing drives me crazy.
Yeah, homeopathy makes you gay. No, it doesn't. But what if I had zero ethics? I would start selling homeopathic Tylenol and see what happens. But I'm not like that.
Truly.
Anyway, $5 from Charigon. I'm sorry about your name. I'm convinced that a not small number of cis men and women refuse to use pronouns because they don't want to think about their own gender identity. I'm sure, like, could be a part of it. Yeah.
We've suspected that, like, maybe autistic people are more likely in the trans group just because they're more likely to be like, fuck it, let's ball. And that, like, I also think that
Mhm.
the shame that mostly cis people feel about themselves gets projected onto trans people as well. Whoop. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, 4.99 from June Bramley says, if other people need us to be helpful is such a new thought. Maybe you are just an a-hole, Jeff. Hashtag Team Ben. Other people exist.
Other people exist. Wow. Revelation of today.
Hmm.
$5 from Alyssa. I'm the very model of a broken individual. I have lots of ailments acquired and congenital. I love the play on this musical. My many problems are somatic and psychological. Oh
Oh,
my God.
man. Classic.
That was fun.
That was good. It's like you didn't
Oh, you
realize
get to
until you
continue
started
it.
saying it that it had the rhythm, yeah.
I know. I was
Uh,
like, oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
You
like
get to
when
continue
somebody
it.
does a play on, Hallelujah, and it's like you realize at some point that you're doing Hallelujah with just different words. Um,
Yes.
again, a $5 from Alyssa Nguyen, who says, I've tried pain drugs from morphine to naproxen to paracetamol. When it comes to vaccines, I be sure I get them all. True. I need to get boosted.
Yes. Yes. 30 units from Political Irony. I only caught half the show, so I'm looking forward to catching the front. I decided I could multitask, so now I'm watching The Good Place as I listen and chat and stream and think up shenanigans. Hashtag team. That is the most neurodivergent shit, and like we're all aware, yeah, doing 4 things at once and half focusing on all of them. Love it.
I can't do
I'm here
2
for it.
audio streams though. Like it's like a speech jammer. I genuinely can't function if I have 2 different audio streams going. Thank you for 10 units from the Fuzzy Logic, who says, I'm a few minutes behind the live if Jeff is still watching. Another way to think about it is when you get an email from a neutral name and you don't know how to address them, pronouns up front fix that. Truly. Yeah. Like, oh, somebody's name is Jordan. What are their pronouns? We will find out because it's in the LinkedIn header thing now.
Mhm. £5 from Barbara Barrett. You guys are both awesome, but hashtag Team Ben. We're narrowing
Oh.
the gap. And it's always like this, like every week. I love it. But
Competitive. Thank you for $4.99 from Ashley Ray, who says, thank you both so much for helping me be a better ally. I learn more every time I listen. Usually I'm Team Lux, but after Jeff, hashtag Team Ben for the win. People are rewarding you for getting too spicy at that guy.
too unnecessarily spicy. They like spicy Ben. Which
It's
is
true.
why it's like I got more and more spicy because people kept wanting spicy Ben, and then Jimmy's like, stop, everyone stop being so spicy. I'm like, okay, so I'll just go back to being normal me then.
Mhm.
15 units from political irony. The only gatekeeping I want is from a demon dog, Sigourney Weaver. I will not elaborate. That said, hashtag Team L Void Critter. My Void Kitty's name is Critter. Nice.
Oh, cute. Oh, I would love to watch Ghostbusters again. This is a classic.
Yes.
Thank you for
Maybe we should
$5 from
watch
Joshua
that
Everett.
again.
Oh, yeah, it could be on our like Halloween list or something. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yes.
It's been a while. $5 from Joshua Everett says, 100% in line with Ben. Phones never go below 50% charge or I start to freak. Hashtag Team Ben. Can't relate. I get down to like 15% at night and then I go charge it.
Our neurotic people. We know who has really
You have a different
severe
anxiety flavor.
disorders in
Yeah,
this. Yeah. 15 units from political irony. He showed up without a super chat. Hashtag Team Midi.
Yeah, he was just in here like looking up at me and going, "Rah!" And so I was like, ha, mistake. And I picked him up. Thank you for $5 from Zerith Moonpaw, who says, I don't want to touch grass. The grass is itchy. It smells funny. It's hot and there's wasps. Unintelligible nerd noises. Hashtag Team RPS. Wear shoes.
Also, we did say last time we were going to stop doing the rock, paper, scissors just because we're getting more and more on time constraints. And it's a little awkward and clumsy and takes more time than it really needs to. So you can do this one if you guys want, but then we're no more of those going forward.
Since we're getting to the end. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we start rushing through and then we end up done like 10 minutes earlier than we're expecting. So I'm trying to be like aware that there's a trickiness in this time. But yeah, so let's do this one and then we won't do any more rock, paper, scissors. Okay, ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Hey.
You beat me again.
Me again. Tying it up.
Yeah. Haha.
Oh no. Is it me?
We're all just going to slowly get better at this accent because we just do it so often.
It's like if it didn't have the apostrophes, it would be way easier to do the accent. But $10 from Mr. Boricua 10. Absolutely lovely show today. I'm chuffed to bits of all the calls, including the little bit of spice that you managed to get a person to really think properly. Hashtag Dr. Ben. Definitely have a few points on me. I was like, my name wasn't in the thing, so I had to read it differently. Thank you, Mr. Boricua.
Oh, wow. I wasn't muted.
You unmuted.
Just was like,
unmuted
I'm so free to let this one fly.
Don't do that for free, Arden. You got to charge for that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Awesome. Is this one for me to read?
Yes.
Thank you for $10 from Lucy, who says, so sad YouTube ate my last 2 super chats. Love y'all and what you do. The work here is so important. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a bummer. If you go to Patreon, it's a lot more reliable, as far as I understand. So patreon.com/calltheline.
$5 from Aliashana Silverbow. Hashtag Team Lux. Got to support my fellow Oregonian and close to Portlander. I hope you come to love this part of the world.
I already do, girl. Like the weather the last week, I'm like, Oh, that's what I'm here for. Yes. I'm so excited. Oh, and I'm gonna go to a waterfall-oriented state park this weekend, so I'm excited to do that.
Ooh, yes.
Ye
Yes. I think it's you,
Is it
Andy.
you? Oh, you yeah. Okay,
I just
yeah.
yeah.
I responded to the last one, I didn't read the last one. $10 from Lucy, who says, "I started transitioning back in 2016 and haven't looked back since. I've never felt more comfortable, confident, and beautiful in my body than I do now. Hashtag Team Lux." Congratulations, girl.
$20 from Race Dowling. Thanks, just thanks. Thank you. Thank you for your donation.
Appreciate the support. Thank you for 10 Australian from Darren McAuliffe, who says, "I don't know, but isn't Superman odd for saying that kindness is the real punk rock? So punk rock isn't traditionally about kindness. Hashtag Team Lux." I need to watch Superman. Still haven't seen it. Still haven't seen it.
9.99 $9.99 from JW Edgy. I've lived in my van since pre-transition. Now I'm working towards femininity and feel way less safe going to the gym to shower. Trying to move to the city now where I'm not well known. Hashtag Team Lux.
True. I wouldn't shower in a gym regardless of my gender,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
$5 from Space Barbarian says, "Yeah, last thing I need is fucking some insane fungus." I'm Gen X, and Gen Xers using it to say "I'm old" are so weird. We're supposed to rage against the machine, not be a cog in it. True, Gen X.
Yes. Come on, Gen X. $5 from Zereth Moonpaw. Hashtag Team Lux.
Thank you. Also, I think I called you a dumbass on your last super chat, so I'm sorry for that. Thank you for 220 Turkish units, which is a little bit more than $5 USD. From Elira, who says, "Oops, hashtag Team Lux. Sorry about that. Thank you." Pulling ahead.
Yes. $5 from Domestic. For all the extra work TACIS takes. Hashtag Team Lux. Yeah,
True.
and
That's
Lux
almost a
does
vote
get
for
some
hashtag
credit
Team
for
Arden.
being a producer. Yeah.
But not on
Producer's
this
doing
show.
lots of work.
Alrighty.
But maybe
So
someday.
Lux won, which means Ben will have to defend Tylenol made me trans.
That's such a great one for me.
I'm so glad it worked out that way.
Great.
Uh,
I was kind of hoping for the Democrats are the best allies because that just like
that was
that
thank
topic
you.
is
That
just
one came to mind. All right, are you guys ready? Charging up the
as
clock.
it will ever be.
In
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So we all know Tylenol is the most dangerous substance that you could ever take. And the reason why it is so dangerous is because it makes you a trans person. And if there's one thing that trans people do very, very well, it's say fuck you to the establishment, and it's say fuck you to social norms that make absolutely no sense. And it says fuck you to just general mistreatment of people. And so trans people are very, very dangerous to the current administration. They're dangerous, not in the ways that they want to think, but because we're cooler than them. And you know what? Not everybody can like go out into society and get thrown slurs at and get harassed constantly and still say, you know what? I love myself. I'm an awesome person. The people around me are awesome people. And I don't give a shit what you think about me. And so I think Tylenol actually gives you that strength to be a trans person. Like you have to be strong to be trans. And that's one thing. I don't care if people say in the side chat that like, oh, I'm not strong, I'm trans. Bullshit, you are. So stop it. But the Tylenol definitely is what did that. So if you took Tylenol or if your parents took Tylenol while you were in utero, that's why you're such a badass today. And so keep taking Tylenol. Don't overdo it on the Tylenol though, because like too much badassery, the world cannot handle that. So this turned into a motivational speech instead of like I don't know what else, but yeah, don't take ibuprofen because that won't make you as strong as if you take Tylenol. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So true. Absolutely, bestie.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks everybody for sticking around today. And keep sticking around because we're gonna send all of you over to calling in now. So go say hi to Lux over in that side chat. You can say hi to Jimmy too, but mostly just say hi to Lux because Jimmy has enough of an ego. So
That's true.
but we'll see you all over there.
Just stick around. It should just send you there in the chat.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
roll credits. Let's get out of here. Patreon.com/call the line. Get on there. Thank you to everybody who's helping out behind the scenes. We've got Arden on the production. Jess was screening today until she had to get out of here. Everybody else who's on the production team is amazing. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Patreon.com/call the line. Bye.